Persuasion is not about tricking people or forcing your way. It's about understanding, connecting, and guiding others so they want to follow your ideas. Imagine being able to have conversations where people listen, trust you, and respond positively to what you suggest. This audiobook is designed to show you exactly how to do that. Every chapter is packed with clear, practical steps you can use every day to improve your communication, strengthen your influence, and build relationships that work in your favor. You'll learn how to listen in a way that makes people feel truly heard, how to speak with confidence that earns respect, and how to guide conversations so everyone wins. You'll discover how small changes in the way you respond, ask questions, or even pause can completely shift outcomes. Each lesson is built to help you grow your skills in a realistic, hands-on way so you can see results quickly. Whether you want to be more persuasive at work, in your personal life, or in everyday interactions, this audiobook gives you tools that actually work. You'll see how controlling your emotions, understanding body language, and staying authentic can make people naturally trust and follow your lead. By the end, you'll have a complete system to get others to say yes, agree with your ideas, and support your goals, all while keeping respect, honesty, and integrity intact. Stick with this guide, and you'll start noticing shifts in how people respond to you. Simple changes in how you communicate can open doors you never thought possible. You'll feel more confident in your conversations, more aware of how influence works, and more capable of achieving your goals with ease. This is not about shortcuts or manipulation. It's about mastering the skills to connect, inspire, and lead people toward outcomes that benefit everyone. Chapter 1. Master the power of listening to understand others deeply. Listening is not just a social skill, it is the foundation of persuasion, understanding, and human connection. To master persuasion, one must first master listening. Most people believe they listen, but what they really do is wait for their turn to speak. They listen to reply, not to understand. True listening is rare, yet it is one of the most powerful forms of influence a person can ever develop. When you listen deeply to someone, you make them feel seen, heard, and valued. And when people feel understood, they naturally open their minds to your perspective. The art of listening begins with silence, the kind that allows space for another person's truth to emerge. It requires setting aside your own assumptions, opinions, and judgments, and focusing entirely on what the other person is saying, both in words and emotions. To understand others deeply, you must train your mind to slow down, to stay present, and to absorb meaning without interruption. Most misunderstandings in life do not come from what was said, but from what was never truly heard. When a person speaks, they reveal more than their message. Their tone, pace, and choice of words reflect their emotions, fears, and intentions. A skilled listener recognizes these subtle cues and uses them to understand the speaker's inner world. This understanding becomes the foundation of influence because people are naturally drawn to those who make them feel understood. You cannot change someone's mind until you first understand their heart. Deep listening begins with presence. When you are fully present, you give someone your undivided attention, your eyes, your mind, and your silence. You resist the urge to multitask, interrupt, or prepare a response while they are still speaking. Presence tells the other person, you matter. It builds trust faster than words ever could. The more you listen with presence, the more people will confide in you, respect your opinions, and seek your counsel. The next level of listening is empathy. Empathic listening goes beyond hearing facts. It connects with the feelings behind those facts. When someone tells you about their struggles or goals, don't just focus on the surface story. Try to feel what they feel. Put yourself in their position, not to pity them, but to understand their experience. Empathy is not agreement. It is understanding without judgment. And once people feel understood, they no longer resist your influence. They align with it naturally. Listening also involves asking thoughtful questions that show genuine interest. Questions like, "How did that make you feel?" or "What do you think could make this better?" encourage others to open up more. The purpose of these questions is not to manipulate, but to explore their perspective sincerely. People rarely meet good listeners. When they do, they remember them for a lifetime. The person who listens deeply becomes the person others trust, follow, and respect. One of the biggest barriers to good listening is the ego. The ego wants to dominate conversations, to be right, to be admired. It interrupts, corrects, and argues. But persuasion is not about winning arguments. It's about building bridges. When you silence your ego and focus on the other person, you disarm defensiveness. People lower their walls because they sense safety in your attention. They no longer feel the need to protect their position. They feel free to express their truth. And once they share that truth, you can connect with them on a human level where influence naturally begins. Listening also reveals what people truly value. Every complaint, opinion, or desire reflects an underlying need. When you listen attentively, you can identify those needs and respond in ways that speak directly to them. For example, if someone keeps mentioning how unappreciated they feel at work, they are not just complaining about workload, they crave recognition. Once you understand that, your influence becomes powerful because you can speak to what they value most. To master persuasion, you must learn to listen beneath the surface. When people say, "I'm fine," sometimes they mean "I'm hurting." When they speak with anger, they might be expressing fear. When they talk too much, they might be longing for attention. Every word hides an emotion, and every emotion reveals a story. Listening helps you uncover that story, giving you insight into how to reach them in a way that words alone cannot. In personal relationships, deep listening creates intimacy. It tells your loved ones that their voice matters. Many relationships fail, not because of a lack of love, but because of a lack of listening. People stop feeling understood. They start feeling alone, even when together. When you listen with patience and empathy, you strengthen bonds and restore harmony. In professional life, listening earns respect. Whether in leadership, sales, or negotiation, those who listen well understand what others need before offering a solution. They don't push ideas, they align ideas with the listener's values and goals. To practice deep listening, you must train both your mind and your emotions. It begins with self-awareness. Notice how often you interrupt, judge, or rush people as they speak. Recognize the urge to finish their sentences or to turn the topic toward yourself. These habits weaken your ability to connect. Replace them with silence, curiosity, and openness. Train yourself to pause before speaking. That pause is not weakness, it's wisdom. It shows that you value the other person's words enough to consider them fully before responding. Another essential part of listening is body language. Maintain gentle eye contact, nod occasionally to show understanding, and keep your body relaxed but attentive. Avoid crossing your arms or looking away frequently. These small gestures communicate care and focus. People don't just listen with their ears, they feel listened to through your presence. Listening also teaches humility. It reminds you that everyone you meet knows something you don't. Every person carries wisdom shaped by experiences you haven't lived. When you approach conversations with humility, you open the door to learning and growth. The wise never assume they know everything. They listen as students of life, constantly seeking new understanding. In persuasion, the best listeners become the best communicators because they tailor their message based on what they hear. They don't use generic arguments. They use personalized understanding. For example, a good salesperson listens carefully to a client's challenges before suggesting a product. A great leader listens to team members' frustrations before implementing change. A compassionate partner listens to concerns before defending themselves. In every case, listening builds alignment and cooperation. Listening also develops emotional control. It teaches patience, the ability to let others finish without rushing them, the discipline to hold your opinions back until the right time, and the calmness to handle difficult emotions with grace. When someone is upset, your silence becomes your strength. You don't have to fix everything. Sometimes people just need to feel heard, and in those moments, your calm presence becomes healing. To become a powerful listener, practice mindfulness in conversations. Notice the tone, pace, and rhythm of the other person's speech. Listen for what is not being said. The pauses, the sighs, the hesitation, these reveal more than words. A pause can mean fear. A change in tone can mean excitement or doubt. When you attune to these signals, you begin to understand the emotional map of every conversation. Listening also helps you influence without force. When people feel heard, they become more receptive. Their guard drops, and their willingness to collaborate increases. This is the subtle art of persuasion, not through domination or manipulation, but through genuine connection. Influence gained through understanding is stronger and longer lasting than influence gained through pressure. If you wish to persuade someone, start by listening to their story. Ask them what matters to them, what challenges they face, and what they hope to achieve. Don't rush to convince them. Let them feel that their voice has weight. Once they feel understood, your suggestions will resonate more deeply because they align with their inner motivations. Listening is also an act of respect. It shows that you value others' perspectives, even when you disagree. In a world full of noise, the ability to listen quietly is rare and powerful. People often remember how you made them feel more than what you said. And when they recall that you made them feel understood, your influence continues even in your absence. Another key to mastering listening is detachment. Detachment does not mean disinterest. It means freedom from the need to control the outcome. When you listen with detachment, you don't listen to win or prove anything. You listen to learn. This state of mind keeps you calm, even when others are emotional. It allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Detachment strengthens persuasion because it shows stability and maturity. Listening also sharpens your intuition. As you listen deeply to people over time, you begin to sense patterns. The way people express fear, the way they hide disappointment, the way they seek validation. This intuitive understanding helps you anticipate reactions and communicate more effectively. You become a better judge of character, not by guessing, but by observing deeply. To strengthen your listening ability, create daily habits that sharpen focus. Spend a few minutes in quiet reflection before conversations. Remind yourself to be fully present. When speaking with someone, silence distractions, put away your phone, close unnecessary tabs, and look them in the eye. Practice slowing down your speech and giving space for others to express themselves fully. Listening is also about understanding perspectives that differ from yours. Growth happens when you allow your mind to stretch beyond your own opinions. When you listen to people you disagree with, you train your mind to see the world from multiple angles. This flexibility makes you a more persuasive communicator because you understand the diversity of thought. You can address objections calmly and craft messages that resonate across differences. Sometimes, listening means enduring discomfort. People might express anger, pain, or criticism. In those moments, resist defensiveness. Stay calm and focused on understanding. Behind every harsh word lies an unmet need or unhealed wound. When you listen without reacting, you give others the chance to release their emotions safely. That simple act often transforms conflict into understanding. Listening also requires discernment. Not every word deserves equal weight. Some people speak from truth. Others speak from fear or ignorance. A wise listener knows how to separate emotion from fact, illusion from reality. You listen with empathy, but evaluate with reason. This balance protects you from manipulation while allowing you to maintain compassion. Every great persuader knows that influence begins with understanding, and understanding begins with listening. When you listen deeply, you don't just hear information, you receive insight into what drives people. And once you know what drives them, you can guide, inspire, and motivate them more effectively. The most persuasive leaders throughout history, teachers, philosophers, negotiators, and mentors, shared this ability. They could read people because they listened. They could inspire loyalty because they made others feel understood. They didn't shout to be heard. They listened so well that others wanted to hear them. Listening is also a mirror of character. It reflects patience, humility, and discipline. These are the same traits that define greatness in every area of life. When you practice listening, you are also practicing self-control, empathy, and focus, all essential virtues for success. Over time, deep listening transforms not only how you communicate, but who you are. You become calmer, wiser, and more compassionate. You begin to notice that people open up more easily, that conversations flow naturally, and that influence no longer feels like a struggle. It becomes effortless because people trust you. They know you care enough to listen. The ultimate goal of listening is not to respond, it is to connect. When you connect, persuasion becomes natural. When you understand someone's world, your words align with their truth. You no longer push, you guide. You no longer argue, you inspire. You no longer seek approval, you earn respect. In mastering the power of listening, you master one of life's greatest skills, the ability to understand human nature deeply. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to learn. Every person becomes a teacher, and every silence becomes meaningful. Listening shapes your relationships, your influence, and your destiny. The path to persuasion is not through talking more, but through listening better. The one who listens the most understands the most, and the one who understands the most influences the most. True persuasion begins the moment you choose to be silent, not because you have nothing to say, but because you care enough to hear. Chapter 2. Build instant trust through genuine warmth and honesty. Trust is the invisible force that makes influence possible. Without it, even the smartest ideas fall on deaf ears. With it, your words carry weight, your presence commands respect, and your relationships become stronger than any strategy could ever make them. The moment people sense your warmth and honesty, their guard lowers. They begin to listen, not because you demand attention, but because they feel safe in your presence. Real persuasion begins where trust is built, and trust is built not through perfection, but through sincerity. Genuine warmth is not something you can fake. It comes from the quiet confidence of someone who is comfortable in their own skin. It is the calm tone in your voice, the kindness in your eyes, the patience in your responses. People feel it before they even process your words. When you approach others with genuine interest, they can sense it. Humans are wired to detect authenticity. We instinctively know when someone's kindness is real or rehearsed. That is why trust can't be forced. It must be earned through consistent authenticity in every interaction. Honesty is the foundation upon which all meaningful influence rests. It doesn't mean saying everything that comes to mind without care. It means aligning your words with your values. When you speak truthfully, people may not always agree with you, but they will respect you. Those who tell the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, build a reputation that lasts. People gravitate toward individuals they can rely on. When your honesty becomes predictable, your influence becomes powerful because people will believe you when it matters most. The way you carry yourself determines how quickly trust forms. A warm smile, a steady voice, and open body language signal approachability. When people feel seen and accepted, they respond with openness. Trust grows naturally when others sense no hidden agenda. In every conversation, show through your tone and demeanor that your intention is to understand, not to manipulate. The moment someone feels safe with you, they begin to share more, listen more, and believe more. Warmth without honesty feels manipulative. Honesty without warmth feels harsh. True persuasion combines both. It's the balance between caring and clarity, being kind while staying real. People trust those who can deliver truth with compassion. When you express honesty from a place of respect rather than ego, it strengthens your credibility instead of damaging connection. Telling someone what they need to hear, even when it's difficult, earns deeper trust than telling them only what they want to hear. Building instant trust starts with intention. Before you speak, center your purpose. Are you trying to connect, or are you trying to control? Are you speaking to add value or to impress? When your intention is pure, people can feel it. They may not articulate it, but something in their instincts tells them you're genuine. In persuasion, sincerity speaks louder than technique. You don't need to perform. You need to be real. Every word, every gesture, every silence communicates something about your character. When your behavior consistently matches your words, trust becomes effortless. The most powerful people are those whose integrity speaks before they do. Others sense reliability because there's no contradiction between what they say and what they do. This alignment between words and actions is what transforms credibility into influence. Trust is also built through small acts of respect. Listening attentively, remembering details about others, and acknowledging their feelings all show care. People don't trust those who ignore them or make them feel small, but they open up to those who treat them with dignity, even in disagreement. A simple act of kindness, a sincere thank you, an encouraging word, or a moment of patience can create trust faster than hours of persuasion. Another key to building trust is transparency. People fear what they don't understand, so when you communicate openly about your intentions, decisions, and reasoning, you remove uncertainty. Transparency builds confidence because it leaves no room for guessing. In leadership, honesty about challenges earns more loyalty than pretending everything is fine. In relationships, openness about your feelings builds depth. In business, clarity about expectations prevents conflict. Trust grows in the light of honesty and dies in the shadow of secrecy. The strongest form of honesty is consistency. Anyone can be sincere once, but true integrity is proven over time. When people see that your actions stay true even when circumstances change, they begin to depend on you. Consistency creates predictability, and predictability creates safety. The people who influence the most are not the loudest. They are the most consistent. You always know where they stand, and that reliability becomes magnetic. Warmth also comes from humility. Arrogance builds walls, but humility opens doors. When you admit mistakes, apologize sincerely, and show a willingness to learn, people respect you more, not less. Pretending to be flawless only breeds suspicion. Being honest about your flaws shows strength because it proves you value truth over image. Those who can own their imperfections earn the trust of others who see themselves reflected in that honesty. In persuasion, timing also matters. Trust builds faster when honesty is delivered at the right moment. Rushing to prove sincerity often feels desperate. Instead, let trust develop naturally through steady behavior. Don't push people to believe in you. Give them reasons to. Let your warmth, patience, and consistency show who you are, and trust will form organically. True persuasion does not rely on grand promises, but on small proofs. Every fulfilled commitment, every kept word, every fair action strengthens credibility. When people notice that your behavior remains honest, even when no one is watching, they start to believe in your integrity. The quiet reputation of reliability becomes your greatest persuasive tool. Trust also requires boundaries. People respect those who are honest enough to say no when necessary. Agreeing to everything to please others might seem like kindness, but it erodes respect. When you communicate boundaries clearly and calmly, others recognize that your word has meaning. Your yes carries weight, because your no has value. Real warmth is not weakness. It is strength guided by self-respect. Emotional authenticity is another pillar of genuine connection. When you express your feelings honestly without exaggeration or suppression, others relate to you more easily. Pretending to always be positive or unshakable creates distance, but showing your humanity builds closeness. If you feel empathy, express it. If you feel concern, show it. People remember how you made them feel, and authenticity always leaves a lasting impression. In every form of communication, spoken, written, or unspoken, trust is the bridge that turns words into influence. You can have the best ideas, the strongest logic, or the most persuasive techniques, but without trust, your message has no foundation. The ability to inspire belief through warmth and honesty determines how far your influence reaches. When you speak, let your tone carry sincerity. When you act, let your choices reflect integrity. When you make promises, treat them as sacred. Over time, these qualities create a reputation so strong that even your silence carries meaning. People begin to believe in you not just because of what you say, but because of who you are. To build instant trust, approach each interaction with genuine care. Look beyond titles, opinions, and appearances. See the human being in front of you. Make them feel important, not through flattery, but through real attention. When others sense that you value them as individuals, their natural response is trust. This is how influence begins, not with persuasion techniques, but with humanity. Every day offers opportunities to build or break trust. How you treat others when they can't offer you anything in return reveals your character. How you respond when things don't go your way shows your integrity. How you communicate when emotions run high determines whether people will follow you or distance themselves. Trust is built in moments when no one is watching, but it shines when everyone is. The most persuasive people are not those who dominate conversations or outsmart others. They are those whose presence makes others feel safe, respected, and understood. When you combine warmth with honesty, people sense that you have no hidden motive. They begin to relax, to share openly, and to believe in your intentions. From that space of trust, influence becomes effortless. To master persuasion, focus first on becoming trustworthy. Let your warmth be natural, your honesty unwavering, and your integrity visible in every word and action. Over time, people will not just listen to you, they will look to you. They will trust your guidance, seek your perspective, and follow your lead. Because in a world filled with pretenders, the genuine stand out effortlessly. Trust built on honesty and warmth is the quiet power that transforms influence from a skill into a legacy. Chapter 3. Speak with clarity that inspires confidence and respect. Clarity in speech is the mark of a disciplined mind and a confident heart. When you speak with precision, people listen. When your words carry purpose and direction, they command respect without force. Every great leader, communicator, and persuader understands that the power of speech lies not in the number of words spoken, but in the clarity with which they are delivered. Words shape perception, and perception determines influence. The way you express yourself either draws people in or pushes them away. Clarity is what transforms communication into connection. When you speak clearly, you project certainty. Certainty is magnetic. It makes others feel they are in the presence of someone who knows what they're doing and where they're going. Confusion, on the other hand, creates doubt. People rarely trust what they do not understand. The clearer your message, the more confidence it inspires. Speaking with clarity does not mean speaking more, it means speaking with intent. Every word should serve a purpose, every sentence should move the message forward, and every idea should be simple enough for others to grasp without effort. Confidence in speech begins with confidence in thought. If your thinking is scattered, your words will reflect that. If your mind is calm and ordered, your communication will follow the same pattern. Clarity begins before you open your mouth. It starts in your preparation. Know what you want to say, why you want to say it, and what outcome you hope to achieve. The moment your intention is clear, your expression naturally aligns with it. People can sense when your message comes from understanding rather than impulse. That inner order communicates strength without aggression. Speaking with clarity also means valuing simplicity. Complex language may impress, but it rarely connects. The most effective communicators take difficult ideas and make them easy to understand. Simplicity is not a lack of intelligence, it is a demonstration of mastery. When you strip away unnecessary words, your ideas shine brighter. People don't remember complicated speeches, they remember sentences that feel true, sentences that cut through noise and reach the mind directly. The more you simplify your language, the more powerful it becomes. Respect follows clarity because it reflects control. People respect those who can communicate calmly, directly, and without hesitation. They feel reassured in your presence because your words carry structure and confidence. This kind of presence is not about volume or dominance, it's about steadiness. When you can explain your thoughts without confusion, when your tone remains composed even under pressure, you earn credibility. Authority grows naturally from the ability to communicate clearly under any circumstance. To speak with clarity, develop the habit of thinking before responding. Silence, when used wisely, is not awkward. It is powerful. A brief pause before you speak allows you to organize your thoughts and choose words that reflect your intention. The person who pauses to think communicates maturity and confidence. Those who rush to fill silence often speak without meaning. The calm speaker who chooses their words carefully commands far more attention than the one who talks endlessly without direction. Clarity also depends on emotional control. When emotions take over, words lose precision. Anger, frustration, or anxiety distort meaning and weaken credibility. To inspire confidence, train yourself to remain composed even when emotions run high. Breathe, slow down, and focus on facts rather than feelings. Emotional steadiness gives your words weight because people know you are not driven by impulse. The clearer your emotional state, the clearer your message. Your tone of voice is as important as your choice of words. The same sentence can inspire or offend, depending on how it is delivered. A calm, steady tone conveys confidence and authority. A rushed or uncertain tone communicates doubt. Speak slightly slower than you think. This allows your message to settle in your listener's mind and gives you control over the conversation. When your tone is measured, people sense that you are in command of yourself, and that self-command builds trust and admiration. Clarity also involves structure. When presenting an idea, guide your audience through it, step by step. Begin with what matters most, explain the reasoning behind it, and end with a clear point or call to action. People appreciate direction. A scattered message leaves them confused and disengaged, but a structured one holds their attention. Organize your ideas like a roadmap. Every point should lead smoothly to the next. When listeners feel guided, they remain connected and confident in your leadership. Confidence is not loudness, it is certainty. Those who speak with quiet clarity often carry more influence than those who shout. Confidence comes from knowing that your words align with truth, not from needing to prove your worth. When your speech is guided by authenticity and purpose, you don't need to oversell your message. The strength of your conviction will be felt naturally. Confidence expressed through clarity is far more persuasive than confidence expressed through arrogance. Respect grows when your words match your actions. People watch more than they listen. If your speech is clear but your behavior contradicts it, your influence fades. To inspire respect, speak only what you mean and follow through on what you say. Clarity in words should reflect clarity in values. When others know you mean what you say and say only what you mean, your voice carries authority beyond the moment. Clarity also means eliminating filler, words that dilute meaning and weaken impact. Phrases like "you know, kind of," or "maybe" signal uncertainty. Replace them with direct statements. Say what you mean plainly. This doesn't make you harsh, it makes you decisive. The world respects decisiveness because it shows that you have thought things through. Every unnecessary word you remove adds power to the ones that remain. The fewer distractions in your language, the sharper your influence becomes. To develop clear communication, practice active reflection after every meaningful conversation. Ask yourself if your message was understood exactly as you intended. Were your words too complex, too fast, or too vague? Did your tone match your meaning? Reflection builds awareness, and awareness sharpens skill. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns in how people respond to you. Adjusting these small details transforms not only how you speak, but how you're perceived. Clarity also requires empathy. You must speak in a way that matches the listener's understanding. Great communicators adapt their message to their audience. They avoid jargon when speaking to those unfamiliar with a subject, and adjust their examples to match the listener's experiences. Speaking clearly is not just about expressing yourself, it's about being understood. You measure the success of your communication not by how well you speak, but by how clearly others receive your message. In persuasion, clarity creates momentum. When your message is simple, direct, and meaningful, people are more likely to act. They know what you stand for, what you want, and how they can participate. Vague communication leads to hesitation, while clear communication leads to commitment. The most successful individuals, whether in business or personal relationships, are those who express their ideas so plainly that others can immediately follow their vision. Clarity also means being honest when something is uncertain. Pretending to know everything damages credibility. Admitting, "I don't have the full answer yet, but I'll find out," shows humility and responsibility. People trust those who value truth over pride. Unclear communication often stems from the fear of looking weak. Ironically, admitting uncertainty strengthens trust because it demonstrates integrity. The respect you gain from honesty is far more valuable than the approval you might gain from pretending. When speaking, visualize your message as a bridge, connecting your thoughts to another person's understanding. The stronger and simpler the bridge, the easier it is for others to cross. Don't overload it with unnecessary decoration. Make it sturdy with logic, sincerity, and focus. Every listener should walk away not only understanding what you said, but feeling your confidence in every word. Clarity also improves relationships. Miscommunication causes unnecessary tension. A kind but unclear statement can be misinterpreted as indifference, and a well-meaning suggestion can sound like criticism if not expressed clearly. Speaking plainly eliminates confusion and prevents resentment. Clear words reduce drama and strengthen trust. When people know where you stand, they feel secure in your presence. To refine clarity, practice speaking as though every sentence matters, because it does. Don't rush. Don't over-explain. Let your message breathe. Precision requires discipline, and discipline creates respect. The more disciplined your speech, the more authority your words gain. Over time, people begin to associate your name with reliability and your voice with calm assurance. When you master clarity, persuasion becomes effortless. You don't need to convince anyone forcefully because your words do the work. They resonate because they're clean, focused, and free from confusion. Every great communicator, past or present, relies on this principle. Clarity is truth made visible. When truth is visible, people listen, respect, and follow. To speak with clarity that inspires confidence and respect, build your words upon understanding, simplicity, and integrity. Know your message, express it with calm conviction, and let it reflect your values. Speak less to impress and more to express. Let your words illuminate rather than obscure. When people hear you, they should feel your certainty, trust your judgment, and believe your intent. In a world full of noise, the voice that speaks with clarity will always stand out, not because it shouts the loudest, but because it speaks the truth most clearly. Chapter 4. Read body language to uncover unspoken emotions easily. Every person you meet speaks two languages, one with words and another with silence. The second is far more honest. Before someone ever says a single word, their posture, facial expression, and gestures already reveal their emotions, intentions, and level of trust. The ability to read those signals doesn't just make you a better communicator, it gives you an invisible edge in every conversation. It allows you to see what others are feeling but not saying, to sense hesitation behind a smile or confidence behind quiet eyes. When you can read body language with precision, you stop reacting blindly and start understanding deeply. You begin to see people for who they truly are, not who they pretend to be. Every movement tells a story. A crossed arm can be a shield of discomfort. A tilted head may be a signal of curiosity. A tight jaw can whisper unspoken frustration. These physical signs are not random. They're emotional footprints. Most people miss them because they're too focused on their own thoughts or what they want to say next. But influence begins with awareness, and awareness starts when you pay attention to what's unsaid. The person who truly listens with their eyes gains a power that goes beyond persuasion. It becomes connection. The most persuasive people in the world don't just talk, they observe. They notice the small things, the fleeting glance, the sudden stillness, the way someone's tone tightens ever so slightly when a sensitive topic arises. They treat these signals as valuable clues that help them adjust their words, pace, and tone in real time. This skill is not manipulation, it's emotional intelligence in action. It's how you show others that you truly understand them, even when they can't articulate what they feel. To uncover unspoken emotions, you must first silence your own. When your mind is noisy, filled with judgment or impatience, you stop seeing clearly. Calm attention is your sharpest tool. Observe without rushing to conclusions. Notice how people's expressions change when certain words are mentioned. See how their body leans in or away. Feel the energy in the space. People leak emotion constantly. They can't help it, but only those who are grounded can perceive it. The human face alone is a language of hundreds of subtle expressions. The eyes narrow in suspicion, soften in empathy, widen in surprise. The mouth curves slightly when pleased or flattens when holding back anger. You don't have to analyze mechanically. Instead, stay present and curious. The more you care about truly understanding, the more naturally you'll read these signs. Your intuition will sharpen because it's being trained by genuine interest, not by technique. You can test this skill in everyday life. When speaking with someone, notice when their body becomes tense. Do they cross their arms when you mention a specific subject? Do they touch their neck or face when uncertain? These are not coincidences, they're protective gestures that reveal inner states. When someone feels vulnerable or uncomfortable, the body instinctively seeks safety, crossing arms, creating barriers, or avoiding eye contact. Recognizing this doesn't mean you confront them, it means you adjust your approach with sensitivity. You lower your tone. You pause, you make them feel safe again. That's how trust forms in silence. Conversely, when someone feels open and receptive, their body reflects it effortlessly. They maintain relaxed posture, steady eye contact, and subtle forward movement toward you. These are signs that your message is landing well. A skilled observer doesn't guess, they verify. When you see these signs, you continue with warmth and assurance. You reinforce the emotional state that allows understanding to grow. Many people underestimate how much posture reveals. Confidence expands the body. Doubt contracts it. People who feel powerful take up space. They stand tall, shoulders back, gestures open. Those who feel insecure make themselves smaller. They hunch, minimize movement, and avoid attention. These patterns are universal. When you can read them, you know exactly when to speak encouragement, when to pause, and when to reassure. You begin to align your communication not with what someone says, but with what they feel. That is where influence truly begins. Silence, too, is a language. When someone grows quiet, it's rarely empty. It might be a sign of reflection, hesitation, or suppressed emotion. If you rush to fill every pause, you'll miss the truth hiding inside it. A moment of stillness can tell you more than a paragraph ever could. Give people space to reveal themselves through silence, and you'll uncover their real thoughts. True persuasion is not about pushing, it's about allowing others to open up on their own terms. In relationships, body language can heal misunderstandings before they even begin. When you notice a friend's eyes drift away, or their smile fade slightly, that's the moment to pause and ask with sincerity, "Are you okay?" Such small acts of awareness build bonds that words alone cannot. They show that you care enough to notice what others might overlook. In business, the same principle applies. When you can sense hesitation in a client's posture, you can address concerns before they're spoken. You solve problems before they become objections. To develop this ability, you must practice presence. Presence means giving your full attention to the person before you. Not scanning the room, not checking your phone, not rehearsing your next response, just being there fully. When people feel seen, they relax, and when they relax, their true emotions surface naturally. That's when your understanding becomes effortless. Another key element of reading body language is congruence. Words and gestures must align. When someone says they're happy but their tone is flat and their shoulders are slumped, their body contradicts their words. Always believe the body, it rarely lies. People can disguise their language, but their nervous system will always tell the truth. As you become more observant, you'll learn to sense when something doesn't match. You'll notice the gap between spoken words and emotional reality. That gap is where authentic communication begins. When you respond to body language, do it gently. Never announce that you've caught someone's real feelings. That creates defensiveness. Instead, acknowledge emotions indirectly with empathy. For example, if someone's posture shows tension, you might say, "It seems like this topic matters a lot to you." That single line validates them without judgment. It opens the door to deeper honesty. Influence grows from understanding, not from exposing. Reading body language also helps you manage your own. If you want to earn trust and respect, your body must mirror the calm authority you wish to project. Stand upright. Maintain steady eye contact, but not a stare. Use measured movements, not restless gestures. Speak with relaxed rhythm. Your physical presence should communicate what words cannot, that you are confident, composed, and trustworthy. People believe what they see more than what they hear. When your words and body align, you become magnetic. In moments of conflict, pay attention not only to what is said, but to the micro-expressions that flicker across someone's face. Anger often flashes for a split second before it's hidden. Fear may tighten the lips before words deny it. By noticing these shifts, you can respond calmly instead of being drawn into emotional escalation. You maintain your center, and in doing so, you become the stable force others naturally follow. Empathy grows through observation. When you understand how people physically express their emotions, you stop taking things personally. You see that a person's irritability may come from anxiety, not disrespect. You realize their avoidance might be fear, not rejection. This awareness allows compassion to replace frustration. The more you read body language accurately, the more patient and wise you become. You no longer react, you respond. As you refine this skill, your presence will change. People will feel understood around you without knowing why. They'll sense that you get them on a deeper level. That's the essence of influence. You're no longer trying to persuade through effort. You're connecting through awareness. Every relationship improves because you're seeing people as they are, not as you expect them to be. The truth is, understanding others begins with understanding yourself. Your own body language reveals your emotions too. Notice when your shoulders tighten or your breathing shortens. Those signals are messages from your inner state. Mastering your own non-verbal cues makes you a more conscious communicator. You become aware of how your presence affects others, and you learn to project calm even in tense situations. That calmness is persuasive in itself. It draws respect and cooperation without demand. When you train your mind to observe instead of assume, you gain insight that others overlook. You start recognizing the difference between a forced smile and genuine joy, between politeness and real agreement. This awareness guides your words with precision. It prevents unnecessary conflict and builds trust through accuracy. People feel safe with someone who sees clearly. Reading body language is not about control. It's about connection. It's not about decoding people like puzzles, but about understanding them as human beings. Every person you meet wants the same thing: to be seen, heard, and respected. When you can perceive their unspoken emotions, you give them that gift. In return, they give you openness, trust, and cooperation. Influence becomes effortless when empathy and observation merge. You stop persuading through force and start leading through understanding. That's the mastery of silent communication. The deeper your awareness, the more powerful your words become. And as you continue to see beyond the surface, you'll realize the greatest persuasion begins not with talking, but with seeing. Chapter 5. Ask powerful questions that guide people toward your vision. The quality of your questions determines the quality of your influence. Every great leader, persuader, or visionary understands that asking the right question can shift a person's entire perspective. Words have power, but questions shape direction. A single, well-placed question can awaken insight, uncover hidden truth, and move someone from resistance to alignment. When you master the art of asking powerful questions, you no longer need to push people, you guide them, gently but effectively, toward the vision you hold. Most people spend their conversations trying to be understood. The few who rise above focus instead on understanding. A question is not merely a tool to gather information, it's a bridge that connects two minds. When you ask with sincerity and clarity, you create space for others to think, to reflect, and to reveal their deeper motivations. That space is where influence happens, not through dominance, but through discovery. You don't impose your ideas, you help others arrive at them naturally, which makes the outcome more lasting and genuine. The most persuasive questions are those that invite reflection rather than demand defense. For instance, instead of saying, "Why don't you agree with me?" a better question might be, "What concerns do you see that we should consider?" The first question provokes resistance. The second opens dialogue. Powerful questions never corner people. They create movement. They lead without forcing. They make people feel valued because they invite their perspective. And when people feel valued, they become receptive. Asking great questions requires patience and presence. You must listen closely, not just to the words being said, but to the tone, emotion, and intent behind them. Every answer contains another question waiting to be discovered. When someone shares their thoughts, don't rush to respond. Ask yourself, what truth lies beneath what they're saying? Then ask the question that draws that truth to the surface. The goal isn't to interrogate, it's to explore. When you do, people begin to see you as someone who understands them deeply, and that is the foundation of real influence. There's a rhythm to effective questioning. It begins with curiosity. Genuine curiosity cannot be faked. People sense it immediately. When you ask because you truly want to understand, your tone softens, your energy steadies, and your words gain power. You're no longer seeking control, you're seeking clarity. That shift changes everything. Questions born from curiosity invite openness. Questions born from ego invite resistance. The difference between persuasion and pressure lies in the energy behind your inquiry. Consider how great mentors, leaders, and negotiators communicate. They don't lecture endlessly, they guide discovery. They ask questions like, "What do you think would make this better?" or "How do you see this situation unfolding if nothing changes?" These questions make people stop and think. They trigger ownership. Suddenly the listener isn't being told what to do, they're arriving at the realization themselves. And once a person reaches a conclusion on their own, it becomes their truth. That is the essence of subtle, enduring influence. Every question you ask should serve a purpose. Some reveal facts, others uncover values, some challenge assumptions, others ignite imagination. The most effective persuaders know how to balance these types effortlessly. They might begin with open-ended questions to establish trust, then narrow toward precision once understanding deepens. They move from what matters most to you to how can we align that with this goal. This flow turns conversation into cooperation. It transforms separate intentions into shared vision. One of the greatest skills you can develop is the ability to ask questions that guide emotion as much as logic. Human beings make decisions through feeling first, then justify them with reason. So when you ask, don't just seek intellectual answers, seek emotional truth. Ask, how does that make you feel about where we're heading? Or what would make this outcome truly meaningful for you? These questions touch the heart, and once the heart is open, the mind follows naturally. In persuasion, your goal is not to win an argument, it's to win understanding. Questions make that possible because they turn confrontation into cooperation. Even in conflict, a simple, thoughtful question can diffuse tension instantly. Instead of reacting, say, "Help me understand what's most important to you right now." That sentence disarms defensiveness. It tells the other person that their perspective matters. It turns disagreement into dialogue. And from dialogue, trust is born. Powerful questions also help you uncover hidden motivations. People rarely express their real desires at first. They often speak through surface concerns. By asking what makes that important to you, you guide them from the surface to the core. For example, someone might resist a proposal because it seems risky, but what they're really afraid of is looking foolish if it fails. When you uncover that emotion, you can address it directly. You're no longer negotiating positions, you're understanding needs. And once you meet a person's true need, persuasion becomes effortless. Guiding someone toward your vision through questions is not about manipulation, it's about alignment. True influence comes when both parties feel seen and respected. The best persuaders know how to frame questions that reveal common ground. They don't ask, "Do you agree with me?" They ask, "How can we make this work in a way that benefits us both?" Such language transforms persuasion into partnership. People follow, not because they are convinced, but because they are inspired. To master this art, you must also control your tone. A good question asked with the wrong tone can destroy trust. When your voice carries patience, warmth, and respect, even challenging questions are received openly. When it carries tension or judgment, even soft words create resistance. Influence is not only about what you ask, it's about how you make people feel when you ask. Calm curiosity opens doors that pressure will always close. The power of a question lies not just in its wording, but in the silence that follows. After you ask, give people time to think. Don't rush to fill the pause. In that silence, insight forms. The most meaningful answers emerge when people feel they have space to reflect. That silence also shows your confidence. It proves you value the response enough to wait for it. Those moments of stillness often contain the breakthroughs that change conversations entirely. As you strengthen this skill, start noticing the questions that inspire the best responses in your daily life. Pay attention to how people react. Do they open up or shut down? Do they think deeply or answer automatically? Adjust accordingly. Ask questions that draw honesty, not convenience. The more authentic your curiosity, the more revealing the answers you'll receive. Great communicators are sculptors of thought. They don't force change, they shape it subtly through inquiry. Every question becomes a chisel that removes confusion and reveals truth. You can use this approach to lead a team, resolve conflict, sell an idea, or strengthen a relationship. The ability to ask questions that move people toward your vision is not just a communication skill, it's a leadership philosophy. It's the way to create progress through cooperation, not confrontation. When you approach every interaction with the mindset of discovery, persuasion becomes natural. You're no longer trying to convince anyone, you're helping them see what already makes sense. You're guiding them to realize how your vision also serves their interest. People rarely resist what they help to create. That's why the wisest persuaders use questions to plant ideas rather than impose them. Over time, those ideas take root in others' minds and grow into shared conviction. The simplest way to begin is to replace statements with questions. Instead of saying, "We should do this," ask, "What do you think would happen if we tried this?" Instead of saying, "This is the best path," ask, "What do you think could make this work even better?" Each question invites collaboration. Each one transforms you from a commander into a guide. The shift may seem small, but its effect is profound. Asking powerful questions is not about showing intelligence, it's about awakening it in others. When people feel that you help them think more clearly, they trust your leadership. They see you not as someone who tells them what to do, but as someone who helps them discover what's possible. That trust is persuasion in its purest form. Every great movement, every great idea that ever inspired change, began with a question. What if? Why not? How can we make this better? The future belongs to those who keep asking, not because they lack answers, but because they seek deeper truth. When you learn to ask questions that open minds and reveal meaning, you don't just guide others toward your vision, you help them find their own within it. And that is where the greatest power of persuasion truly lives. Chapter 6. Strengthen emotional control to influence with calm authority. The person who can stay calm when everyone else is losing control becomes the one everyone listens to. True influence is not measured by how loudly you speak or how forcefully you act, but by the stability you bring into chaos. Emotional control is the foundation of persuasive power because it turns uncertainty into confidence, tension into direction, and fear into focus. When your emotions are steady, your mind becomes clear, your words carry weight, and your presence commands respect without ever demanding it. People follow calm authority because it makes them feel safe, understood, and guided. Every situation you face, conflict, disagreement, pressure, tests your ability to remain composed. Most people let emotions lead them like wild horses. They react to every provocation, defend every opinion, and lose clarity in the heat of the moment. But mastery begins when you stop letting emotion dictate your behavior and start using emotion as a signal. Anger may tell you something feels unjust. Anxiety may warn you of uncertainty, but neither should control your action. The emotionally intelligent person acknowledges their feelings, observes them, and responds with discipline. They pause before reacting, reflect before deciding, and speak only after regaining balance. That pause, small as it may seem, is the gap where power lives. Calm authority doesn't mean suppressing emotions, it means channeling them intelligently. Suppression leads to tension and resentment. Control means awareness and direction. You feel the emotion fully, but don't let it decide for you when someone tries to provoke you. Control means noticing the irritation rise and choosing stillness over retaliation. When plans fail, control means recognizing disappointment, but acting with patience instead of panic. This composure communicates something powerful, that you cannot be shaken easily, that you lead yourself before you lead others. Influence requires emotional maturity because people mirror your energy. If you are nervous, they sense it. If you are frustrated, they absorb it. But if you are calm, you become the emotional anchor in every interaction. Others instinctively look to you for stability. In tense discussions, this ability becomes your greatest weapon. When voices rise, you keep your tone steady. When others rush to conclusions, you slow down. This doesn't just earn respect, it shifts control. Emotional steadiness gives you the space to think while others are reacting. You see patterns they miss. You respond strategically, not impulsively. In persuasion, emotions always flow before logic. A person who feels attacked will not listen to reason, but one who feels calm in your presence becomes open to influence. That's why controlling your own emotions comes before influencing anyone else's. If your reactions are unpredictable, your credibility weakens. People trust those who maintain consistency under pressure. Calmness tells them you have nothing to hide, nothing to prove, and nothing to fear. It makes them feel they can rely on your judgment, even in difficult situations. Developing emotional control begins with self-awareness. You cannot manage what you do not recognize. Pay attention to the moments that trigger you, the words, actions, or situations that make your chest tighten or your voice rise. These triggers are opportunities for growth. Instead of reacting, study them. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of losing right now? Often, anger masks fear, fear of disrespect, loss, or uncertainty. Once you identify the root, the emotion loses its grip. Awareness transforms reactivity into understanding. The next step is regulation, learning how to calm the body when emotions intensify. Breathing deeply and slowly is the simplest but most effective tool. When you control your breath, you signal your nervous system to relax. The mind follows the body. A few slow breaths can turn defensiveness into clarity. Another strategy is deliberate detachment, mentally stepping back from the situation to observe it as if it were happening to someone else. This small shift in perspective breaks emotional momentum and allows reason to return. Emotional control is strengthened through deliberate practice, not avoidance. You build it by facing discomfort without escaping it. The more you expose yourself to challenging conversations, high-pressure decisions, and emotionally charged environments, the stronger your tolerance grows. Each time you choose composure over reaction, you train your mind to stay centered. Over time, calmness becomes your natural state rather than an effort. What once provoked you no longer controls you. A key part of emotional mastery is learning to separate feelings from facts. Emotions can distort perception, they magnify threats, exaggerate criticism, and cloud truth. Before acting, step back and question, what is actually happening right now? This question grounds you in reality. Facts are neutral, emotions are not. By focusing on facts, you regain objectivity and prevent temporary feelings from leading to permanent mistakes. Calm authority also requires humility. Emotional control isn't about appearing invincible, it's about remaining balanced enough to adapt. People respect those who can admit mistakes without collapsing, who can take feedback without defensiveness, and who can stay centered even when they're wrong. Humility keeps your ego quiet so that wisdom can speak. When you remove the need to prove yourself, you gain the ability to influence others without resistance. In persuasion, emotions often move faster than logic. When someone disagrees with you, their first response is emotional, not rational. If you meet emotion with emotion, you create collision. But if you meet emotion with composure, you create space for reflection. For example, when someone reacts with anger, a calm and measured tone diffuses tension. When they express doubt, your patience builds trust. You're not fighting against emotion. You're guiding it toward balance. The person who can regulate emotional energy leads every conversation, even in silence. People naturally trust calmness because it represents strength without aggression. It signals confidence, wisdom, and control. Think of the most influential figures in history, those who led during crises, negotiated peace, or inspired change. Their words were powerful, not because they shouted, but because they carried stillness. Calmness makes every word feel deliberate. It gives weight to silence and makes others listen closely. When your emotions are steady, your communication becomes magnetic. Emotional control is also essential in personal relationships. Whether with family, friends, or colleagues, moments of disagreement will always arise. If you meet emotion with escalation, connection breaks. But if you stay calm and listen, you give others permission to drop their guard. Calmness heals tension faster than logic ever could. It communicates that you care more about understanding than about winning. This subtle quality strengthens bonds and builds respect that lasts beyond any single conversation. To maintain calm authority in everyday life, establish small rituals that protect your mental balance. Start your day with quiet reflection, focusing on gratitude and intention. Throughout the day, check in with yourself. Am I reacting or responding? When you feel irritation rise, take a breath before speaking. When a situation overwhelms you, step back for a moment before deciding. Emotional control is not about perfection. It's about awareness in motion, catching yourself before you lose balance. Another powerful practice is emotional labeling. When you name an emotion, anger, sadness, fear, it loses intensity. The brain shifts from emotion to analysis. Saying to yourself, "I feel frustrated," is far more constructive than unconsciously acting from frustration. This small act of self-awareness creates distance between feeling and behavior, allowing reason to intervene. Over time, emotional mastery transforms your presence entirely. You no longer react to others, you influence them. People feel your steadiness, and it calms them too. In meetings, your quiet confidence stands out. In conflicts, your composed responses command attention. In leadership, your emotional discipline earns trust faster than any speech could. You become the person others rely on when things fall apart, the voice of reason in the storm. Calm authority is persuasive because it represents control in a world of noise. When others sense your emotional balance, they instinctively believe you can lead them through uncertainty. They may not consciously understand why, but they feel safer around you. That feeling of safety becomes the foundation of loyalty and cooperation. The ability to influence others through calmness is not about dominance, it's about presence. The more you master emotional control, the less you waste energy on impulsive reactions. You conserve your focus for what truly matters. You start responding to life strategically rather than emotionally. You lead yourself first, and that makes others want to follow. Influence begins with the self. Authority begins with inner discipline. And when your emotions no longer rule you, you become a force that cannot be shaken by circumstance or opinion. The calm person holds the real power, not because they suppress emotion, but because they understand it deeply and use it wisely. Emotional control turns conflict into opportunity, pressure into clarity, and doubt into confidence. When you learn to guide your emotions rather than be guided by them, you embody quiet strength, the kind that influences without effort, leads without force, and inspires without words. That is the power of calm authority, and once you master it, every room you walk into will feel your presence before you even speak. Chapter 7. Use empathy to connect and inspire genuine cooperation. Real influence doesn't start with authority, it starts with understanding. The people who truly inspire loyalty, teamwork, and cooperation aren't the ones who demand it, they're the ones who create it through empathy. When you can look beyond words and see the emotions driving someone's behavior, you gain the power to connect in a way that feels genuine, human, and deeply motivating. Empathy is not weakness. It's the quiet strength that turns resistance into respect and distance into trust. Most people listen just to reply, but empathetic leaders listen to understand. When you truly hear another person, not just their words, but their fears, hopes, and insecurities, you make them feel seen. And once someone feels seen, they open up. This is how cooperation begins. When you approach others with the intention to understand rather than to control, their natural defenses drop. You stop being a figure of authority they must obey, and you become a person they want to follow. Empathy requires patience. It means pausing your own perspective long enough to step into another's world. When you take that moment to imagine what they're going through, everything changes. Your tone softens, your words become more thoughtful, and your energy becomes calm rather than demanding. People can feel that shift. They sense safety, and when people feel safe, they become honest, engaged, and willing to work with you, not against you. It's easy to rush through conversations when you're busy or under pressure, but empathy slows you down just enough to see what truly matters. The next time someone is upset or resistant, ask yourself, what emotion is behind their reaction? Often it's not defiance but fear, not laziness but discouragement, not arrogance but insecurity. When you identify the true emotion, you stop reacting to the surface and start addressing the core. That's where real communication happens. Influence built without empathy is fragile. You might get short-term compliance, but you won't get commitment. Empathy builds the foundation for loyalty. When people feel that you genuinely care about their well-being, they'll go further, work harder, and stand by you even in difficult times. Think of every great mentor, coach, or leader you've admired. They probably made you feel capable, not controlled. That's empathy in action. Empathy doesn't mean agreeing with everyone. It means respecting their emotions, even when you disagree with their opinions. You can firmly hold your position and still validate someone else's feelings. Saying, "I can see why that frustrated you," or "I understand this is difficult," doesn't mean you're surrendering authority. It means you're human. That human connection is what gives your authority depth and strength. To strengthen empathy, train yourself to observe what people aren't saying. Notice the hesitation in their voice, the slight change in expression, the shift in posture. These are clues to how they really feel. Sometimes, what's unsaid tells you far more than what's spoken. When you catch these signals and respond with understanding, people feel that you're tuned in. They stop holding back. They start trusting you with the truth. Empathy also means recognizing that not everyone expresses emotions the same way. Some people talk openly, others stay silent. Some express through humor, others through withdrawal. Your ability to adapt to different emotional languages determines how deeply you can connect. The more flexible your empathy, the more effective your influence becomes. A powerful way to demonstrate empathy is through curiosity. Ask questions that show genuine interest. Instead of assuming, say things like, "What's been on your mind lately?" or "How did that situation make you feel?" These small questions signal that you value their experience, and when you listen, truly listen, without interrupting or judging, you build emotional bridges that make cooperation natural, not forced. Empathy is also about self-awareness. You can't connect with others if you're disconnected from yourself. When you understand your own emotions, your triggers, fears, and biases, you're less likely to project them onto others. Self-empathy allows you to stay calm even when someone else isn't. It helps you maintain emotional balance so that your responses remain thoughtful rather than reactive. This calm authority is what earns lasting respect. Sometimes, empathy requires courage. It's not always comfortable to sit with someone's pain or frustration, but when you do, you send a powerful message. You're not alone. That simple feeling can transform someone's attitude. People are far more likely to cooperate when they feel supported, rather than judged. Emotional support creates psychological safety, and psychological safety unlocks creativity, honesty, and teamwork. Empathy also plays a crucial role in resolving conflict. When two people disagree, the natural instinct is to defend, argue, or prove a point. But when even one person listens with empathy, the entire dynamic shifts. The tension decreases because one side feels heard. Once emotions calm, logic returns. What seemed like an impossible disagreement becomes a manageable conversation. That's the power of empathy. It disarms hostility without force. In leadership, empathy doesn't replace discipline, it enhances it. You can set firm boundaries while still caring about the people involved. You can make tough decisions while still communicating with compassion. People can handle almost any outcome if they feel you respected their dignity in the process. That's how empathy and authority coexist to create lasting cooperation. To use empathy strategically, remember that every person you deal with wants three things: to be seen, to be heard, and to be valued. When you make someone feel all three, you unlock their best self. Whether you're leading a team, managing a household, or navigating friendships, empathy helps you bring out the highest potential in others. It transforms relationships from transactional to meaningful. Empathy isn't just about emotions. It's a skill of understanding human motivation. When you know what drives people, you can communicate in ways that align with their values and goals. You can inspire action not by pressure, but by purpose. This kind of influence doesn't fade with time because it's built on connection, not control. In moments of tension, empathy gives you the upper hand. When others lose patience or get defensive, your ability to stay calm and understanding makes you the stabilizing force. People naturally follow those who bring peace to conflict. Your empathy becomes your silent power, the kind that earns loyalty without asking for it. The most influential people in any field, business, education, relationships, are those who can balance empathy with direction. They lead with heart, but guide with strength. They understand people deeply but never lose focus on the vision. Empathy allows them to bring everyone together toward a common purpose, because people don't just hear their words, they feel their intention. So if you want to inspire genuine cooperation, start by practicing empathy in your daily interactions. Look into people's eyes when they speak. Listen for what they're not saying. Acknowledge their efforts. Appreciate their perspective. These small actions create an atmosphere of trust and respect that no authority can command. In the end, empathy is not just a social skill, it's a leadership strategy. It transforms communication into connection, authority into influence, and relationships into partnerships. When you use empathy to lead, people don't just follow you because they have to, they follow you because they want to. And that is where true cooperation begins. Chapter 8. Develop unshakable confidence that draws people to you. Confidence is magnetic. When you walk into a room with quiet assurance, people notice. They may not know why, but they can feel it. That calm, grounded energy that says you believe in yourself and in what you stand for. True confidence doesn't shout, it doesn't try to prove, and it doesn't need to dominate. It simply exists, steady and unshakable, and that's what draws others in. People naturally trust those who trust themselves. Confidence begins with how you see yourself when no one is watching. It's built in the moments you keep your promises to yourself. When you do the work, even when no one is clapping. When you show up prepared, not to impress others, but because you value your own word. Confidence doesn't come from approval, it comes from consistency. Every time you follow through on what you said you would do, your self-respect grows. And self-respect is the foundation of unshakable confidence. Many people mistake arrogance for confidence, but they couldn't be more different. Arrogance is fragile. It depends on comparison. Confidence doesn't need comparison, because it's not about being better than anyone else. It's about being secure in who you are. When you're confident, you don't need to prove your worth. You live it. You can admire others without feeling inferior, and succeed without needing to make anyone feel small. Unshakable confidence is also built through how you handle failure. Every person you admire has failed more times than most people have tried. The difference is, they didn't let failure define them. They used it to refine them. When you stop fearing mistakes, you free yourself to grow. You begin to understand that failure is not proof that you're not good enough. It's evidence that you're learning, evolving, and moving forward. The confident person doesn't avoid challenges. They welcome them as opportunities to strengthen their skill and resilience. To build real confidence, you must silence the inner critic that tells you you're not ready, not capable, not enough. That voice thrives on fear and comparison. The best way to weaken it is through action. Confidence grows every time you act, despite doubt. Waiting until you feel ready is a trap. Readiness comes after action, not before it. Start small, if you must, but start. Each small step is proof to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. Your body language plays a powerful role in how you feel and how others perceive you. Stand tall, make eye contact, speak with measured calmness. These small physical adjustments signal strength, not only to others but to your own mind. When you carry yourself with dignity, your emotions begin to follow your posture. Confidence becomes not just a feeling but a habit, something you express naturally in every movement and word. Confidence also requires knowing your values and standing by them. When you're clear about what matters most to you, you stop being swayed by every opinion or judgment. You become anchored. People may disagree with you, but they'll respect you because you stand for something real. Confidence that lasts isn't built on applause, it's built on integrity. When your actions align with your principles, your presence gains authority. People feel that steadiness. It's what makes them trust and follow you. Another key to unshakable confidence is self-acceptance. You can't be confident if you're constantly at war with yourself. Accept your strengths, your weaknesses, your past mistakes, and your current limitations, not as excuses, but as facts. When you stop pretending and start embracing reality, you gain the power to improve without self-hate. Confidence doesn't mean you believe you're perfect. It means you believe you can handle imperfection. That mindset makes you resilient and authentic. Two traits people instinctively admire. True confidence also shows in how you treat others. The most confident people don't compete for attention. They give it, they listen, they encourage, and they lift others up, because their sense of worth isn't threatened by someone else's success. They understand that helping others shine doesn't dim their own light, it amplifies it. When you make people feel valued in your presence, they associate you with strength and security. That's how confidence becomes influence. There's another layer to confidence that many overlook: emotional composure. The ability to stay calm under pressure separates those who merely appear confident from those who truly are. When things go wrong, the unshakable person doesn't panic. They breathe, they think, and they act with purpose. This stability makes people trust you instantly. They know that when you're around, chaos won't escalate, it will be managed. Calmness under stress is confidence in motion. To develop this composure, practice emotional regulation. Learn to pause before reacting, to observe your feelings without being ruled by them. This doesn't mean suppressing emotion, it means mastering it. You control the tone of your response, the rhythm of your breathing, and the power of your words. Each moment of control strengthens your inner authority. Over time, people will notice that nothing seems to shake you. That's the essence of unshakable confidence. Confidence also grows through preparation. You can't fake expertise. When you prepare deeply, you carry quiet certainty. You don't need to force confidence. It comes naturally because you know your subject, your plan, and your purpose. The more effort you put into mastery, the more secure you feel when it's time to perform. Confidence built on preparation is steady because it's real. Surrounding yourself with positive, growth-minded people is another powerful step. Confidence thrives in supportive environments. When you spend time with those who challenge you respectfully and celebrate your progress, your mindset expands. But when you're around constant negativity or criticism, your confidence slowly erodes. Protect your mental environment the same way you protect your physical health. Choose relationships that strengthen your belief in what's possible. There will always be moments of doubt. Even the strongest people have them. The difference is that confident individuals don't let those moments control their actions. They feel fear and still move forward. They remind themselves of past victories, of times they overcame what once seemed impossible. They use those memories as fuel to continue building courage. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to move despite it. When you start radiating confidence, you change the energy around you. People begin to look to you for direction, guidance, and reassurance. They feel drawn to your certainty because it makes them feel safe. This is why confidence is such a powerful magnet. It gives others permission to believe in themselves too. When you embody strength without arrogance, you become a natural leader, someone whose presence alone can shift a room's atmosphere. To maintain that unshakable confidence, practice gratitude. Confidence isn't just about achievement, it's about recognizing how far you've come. Each success, no matter how small, is proof of your capability. When you regularly acknowledge your progress, you reinforce your self-trust. Gratitude keeps you grounded, humble, and balanced, all essential ingredients of lasting confidence. In the end, developing unshakable confidence isn't about pretending to be fearless or flawless. It's about knowing who you are, believing in your worth, and showing up with calm assurance, no matter the situation. It's about understanding that your value doesn't depend on anyone's validation. When you reach that level of inner certainty, people can feel it. They respect you, they trust you, and they want to be around you. Because confidence, when it's real, doesn't demand attention, it earns it effortlessly. Chapter 9. Practice patience to win respect and lasting influence. Patience is a rare strength in a world obsessed with instant results. The ability to wait calmly, to hold your ground without frustration, is one of the most powerful skills you can develop if you want lasting influence. People respect those who remain composed under pressure, who don't react impulsively, and who can delay gratification for a greater purpose. Patience is not weakness, it's quiet power. It separates the reactive from the wise, the short-sighted from the strategic, and the impulsive from the influential. When you are patient, you send a silent message to the world that you trust your own timing. You don't rush decisions to prove yourself. You don't force outcomes that aren't ready. You understand that influence is built over time through consistency, integrity, and steady action. The impatient person burns bridges, demands recognition, and loses control easily. The patient person earns respect because they demonstrate control, perspective, and grace in every situation. Real patience begins with the acceptance that you cannot control everything. You can only control your response. Life will test your ability to wait. Opportunities will take longer than you hoped. People will disappoint you, and results will sometimes come slower than expected. If you react with frustration or anger, you weaken your credibility. But when you remain calm and composed, others see strength in your steadiness. That calmness under pressure earns respect far more than any outburst of emotion ever could. Influence is about trust, and trust grows when people see that you're not easily shaken. When others realize they can rely on your stability, they begin to follow your lead. They feel safe around your patience. It gives them confidence that you won't overreact or make rash choices. This is why patient people often rise to positions of leadership. Their self-control creates stability for everyone around them. Patience also sharpens your understanding of timing. Some conversations, deals, or relationships need space to mature. Trying to force them too soon only causes resistance. When you're patient, you learn to observe. You notice when it's time to speak and when it's time to wait. You begin to sense when a person needs encouragement, when they need silence, and when they're ready to take the next step. This kind of awareness only comes when your mind is calm enough to see clearly. Many lose influence because they act out of impatience. They interrupt, they demand, they pressure others to meet their pace. But pressure creates tension, and tension destroys cooperation. Patience, on the other hand, builds harmony. It shows that you respect other people's processes. It communicates that you're confident enough to allow things to unfold naturally. When you don't rush people, they feel valued, and that sense of respect becomes the foundation of strong relationships. To practice patience, you must first develop control over your emotions. Impatience is almost always born from fear. Fear of missing out, fear of being forgotten, fear that things won't turn out the way you want. When you learn to quiet that fear, your patience deepens. Take a moment before reacting, breathe, and remind yourself that growth takes time. Mastering patience is not about ignoring frustration. It's about understanding it and choosing a wiser response. Each time you hold back from reacting impulsively, you strengthen your discipline. That small moment of control becomes a victory over yourself. And that's what true power is: mastery over your impulses. People can sense when someone has mastered their emotions. They feel that steadiness, that quiet command, and they respect it deeply. Because in a world full of noise, calmness is authority. Patience also plays a critical role in persuasion. When you rush to convince someone, they sense your urgency and resist. But when you stay calm and patient, you give them room to think, to feel, and to align with your vision willingly. The best persuaders don't push. They wait for the right moment to speak and let their consistency do the work. They know that trust built slowly lasts longer than trust forced quickly. There's a powerful connection between patience and confidence. Impatient people often lack trust in themselves or in the process. Confident individuals, on the other hand, understand that what's meant for them will come, not by chance, but by consistent effort and the right timing. When you're secure in your value, you don't need everything to happen immediately. You trust that your preparation, persistence, and integrity will bring results. This quiet confidence makes others believe in you too. Patience also reveals maturity. It shows that you've learned to separate emotion from action. The mature person doesn't let a temporary feeling create a permanent mistake. They take the time to think before speaking, to listen before judging, and to understand before reacting. That kind of restraint is rare, and it's what earns lasting respect. People gravitate toward those who can remain level-headed when others lose control. Building patience requires practice in small moments. Waiting in line, dealing with someone difficult, managing delays. These are opportunities to train your mind. Instead of seeing them as irritations, see them as exercises in self-mastery. Each time you choose calmness over frustration, you reinforce your inner discipline. Over time, patience becomes second nature, and your presence begins to radiate quiet authority. Patience also deepens wisdom. When you slow down, you notice details that others overlook. You gain perspective that impulsive people miss. You start to understand that every situation has layers and that insight takes time to surface. Wisdom doesn't come from reacting fast, it comes from observing fully. The patient mind sees clearly, while the impatient one sees only what's immediate. The influence you build through patience lasts because it's rooted in consistency. People will come to know that you're not easily swayed, that you can be trusted to handle challenges with composure. When someone wrongs you, you don't seek revenge, you let time and truth do the work. When someone doubts you, you don't argue, you let your actions prove your worth. This kind of restraint commands respect far more than any argument ever could. Patience also makes you a better communicator. When you listen fully, without rushing to respond, people open up to you. They feel understood, not judged. That kind of connection strengthens your influence naturally. The patient communicator builds bridges, while the impatient one builds walls. You gain more by waiting to understand than by rushing to be understood. In your pursuit of success, patience is the bridge between intention and achievement. Every great result takes time. Growth, mastery, and trust all follow their own pace. When you learn to work diligently without needing instant outcomes, you build endurance. That endurance becomes your greatest advantage. Most people quit too soon, not because they can't succeed, but because they can't wait long enough to see results. Patience ensures you stay in the game until the reward arrives. There will be moments when your patience is tested, when you feel invisible, when progress feels slow, when others get recognition before you. Those moments are defining. If you can remain calm and keep moving forward without bitterness, your influence will eventually surpass those who raced ahead without discipline. Time always rewards those who act with steadiness and integrity. The more patient you become, the more peace you experience. You stop fighting what you can't control. You begin to operate from a place of trust instead of tension, and people sense that peace. They feel drawn to it because it's so rare in a world driven by urgency. Your calm energy becomes your signature, a sign that you lead yourself well. And when you can lead yourself, others will naturally follow. In the end, patience is more than a virtue. It's a strategy for power, respect, and enduring influence. The one who can wait without losing focus, who can act without rushing, and who can hold faith when others give up, will always rise. Because patience is not just about time, it's about strength, discipline, and trust in the process. Those who master it don't just win once, they win consistently, with dignity, grace, and lasting impact. Chapter 10. Adapt your communication style to fit every personality. The true art of communication lies not in how much you say, but in how well you connect. The greatest communicators aren't those who speak the loudest or longest. They're the ones who can adjust their message so it reaches every kind of person, no matter their background, temperament, or belief. Influence doesn't come from using impressive words. It comes from understanding people and meeting them where they are. When you adapt your communication style to fit different personalities, you turn conversation into connection, and connection into cooperation. Every person you meet has a different way of perceiving the world. Some think with logic, some feel with emotion, some focus on action, and others prefer reflection. To communicate effectively, you must learn to see through their eyes. The rigid communicator speaks one way to everyone, expecting understanding. The wise communicator adjusts tone, pace, and approach to ensure understanding. Adaptability in communication is not manipulation, it's respect. It means you care enough to reach people in a way they can receive. The first step in adapting your communication style is observation. Watch how people express themselves. Do they speak fast or slow? Are they animated or calm? Do they focus on details or on the big picture? Do they value facts or feelings? These small clues reveal the kind of language that will resonate with them. For example, logical thinkers appreciate clear data and structure, while emotional thinkers respond better to empathy and warmth. The more observant you become, the easier it is to adjust naturally without forcing it. When you're speaking to someone direct and assertive, match their energy with clarity and confidence. They value efficiency and action. Get to the point, speak with certainty, and show results. But when you're dealing with someone sensitive or reserved, approach with gentleness. They value safety and understanding. Speak with patience, lower your tone, and show that you care about how they feel. It's not about changing who you are, it's about tuning yourself like an instrument, so the message sounds right to the listener. Flexibility in communication builds trust faster than any technique. People feel comfortable with those who make them feel understood. When someone senses that you get them, they naturally open up. They stop guarding their thoughts and start listening. Adapting your style tells others that you respect their individuality, and that simple act earns you influence far greater than authority ever could. Miscommunication often happens not because people disagree, but because they express themselves differently. You might think someone is uninterested, when in fact they're just quiet and thoughtful. You might interpret enthusiasm as arrogance, or calmness as indifference. By learning to read and adapt to these differences, you prevent unnecessary friction and strengthen every relationship, whether personal or professional. Adaptability also requires emotional intelligence, the ability to manage your own reactions while tuning into others' emotions. It means staying centered enough to shift your tone when needed without losing authenticity. You can be warm without being weak, assertive without being aggressive, serious without being cold. The goal isn't to mirror people blindly, it's to find the balance between your truth and their comfort. When you master that balance, your words start carrying more weight. In leadership, this skill becomes indispensable. Not everyone on your team will respond to the same kind of motivation. Some need encouragement, others need challenge. Some want detailed direction, while others thrive on autonomy. If you can adapt to each person's communication preference, you unlock their potential. The impatient leader pushes one way and wonders why results vary. The adaptive leader listens, learns, and adjusts, and that's why their influence endures. There's great humility in being adaptable. It means you put understanding above ego. Instead of insisting that others should get you, you take responsibility for making yourself clear. You remove the barrier of pride and replace it with curiosity. You stop assuming that everyone thinks as you do and start learning what truly moves people. This mindset doesn't weaken your identity, it strengthens your ability to connect with any kind of person. Listening plays a major role in adaptability. When you truly listen, people reveal how they need to be communicated with. Their tone, their pauses, their choice of words, all of it tells you what matters to them. If you listen closely, you'll know whether to comfort, challenge, or simply validate. Most people don't listen to understand, they listen to reply. But the adaptable communicator listens to align. That's why their conversations create progress instead of conflict. Another element of adaptive communication is awareness of timing. The same message delivered at the wrong moment loses its power. You must learn when someone is ready to hear something and when they're not. Sometimes silence communicates more respect than speech. Other times, a single honest statement said at the right moment can transform someone's mindset. Sensitivity to timing turns good communicators into great ones. Adaptation doesn't mean being inconsistent or fake. It means being strategic. You maintain your core values, but you express them differently depending on who you're with. Think of it like adjusting your tone when speaking to a child versus a professional. You're the same person, but you modify your delivery so your message is received with clarity. Authentic adaptability is an act of intelligence, not deceit. When you communicate with self-awareness, you start noticing how your natural style affects others. Some people speak bluntly and think they're being honest, but others perceive it as harshness. Some people speak softly and think they're being kind, but others perceive it as weakness. Understanding how your words are received allows you to adjust without changing your essence. You become intentional, not accidental, in your impact. Adaptability also strengthens persuasion. If you want to guide someone toward your vision, you must first speak in a language they understand. You can't inspire a practical thinker with vague ideas, nor can you motivate an emotional person with statistics alone. By blending logic with empathy, clarity with warmth, you create balance. People don't just hear your message, they feel it, and once they feel understood, they're far more willing to follow your lead. Even in conflict, adaptability becomes your greatest ally. Instead of reacting defensively, you assess the person's emotional state and adjust your tone accordingly. With a calm person, you stay logical. With an upset person, you lead with compassion. By doing so, you diffuse tension and keep the discussion productive. The ability to stay flexible while maintaining control turns potential arguments into opportunities for resolution. The patient communicator understands that adaptation takes awareness and humility. It requires stepping outside of your own habits and asking, what does this person need from me to truly hear what I'm saying? Sometimes it's reassurance, sometimes it's brevity, sometimes it's enthusiasm. The more attuned you become to others' needs, the easier it becomes to switch gears effortlessly. You'll notice that the most persuasive and respected people in life share one common trait. They make everyone around them feel seen. They speak to people not at them, they adjust naturally, without calculation, because they've practiced empathy long enough for it to become instinct. This is the level you want to reach, not by memorizing techniques, but by genuinely caring to understand others. Adapting your communication style doesn't happen overnight. It takes mindfulness and constant reflection. Pay attention to your interactions. After every conversation, ask yourself what worked and what didn't. Did the other person seem engaged or distant? Did your tone invite trust or resistance? Every experience is feedback, and every adjustment you make sharpens your influence. In time, you'll realize that adaptability is one of the purest forms of wisdom. It's the understanding that people are not the same, and that your message matters only if it's received. When you can speak the language of every personality, whether it's the logical thinker, the emotional dreamer, the cautious observer, or the bold decision maker, you become unstoppable. You become someone who can bridge differences, lead with empathy, and create harmony where others create division. The ability to adapt your communication style is not about changing who you are, it's about expanding who you can reach. It allows your influence to transcend boundaries and your message to resonate with anyone you meet. When you master this, your words no longer just inform, they transform. Because communication, when done with awareness and respect, has the power not only to persuade minds, but to unite hearts. Chapter 11. Express gratitude, often to make people feel truly valued. Gratitude has the power to change the energy in any room, any relationship, and any life. The moment you begin to sincerely appreciate people, not for what they do, but for who they are, you unlock a level of influence and warmth that no amount of authority can create. People may forget your words, but they will never forget how you made them feel valued. Expressing gratitude often is not just a polite habit, it's a powerful leadership skill and a daily reminder that success is built through people, not above them. When you take time to thank someone, you affirm their worth. You're telling them, you matter, your effort counts. I see you. In a world where people constantly feel overlooked or taken for granted, that acknowledgement becomes priceless. Genuine gratitude creates trust faster than any motivational speech. It bridges gaps, softens pride, and inspires loyalty. When people feel appreciated, they give more of themselves, not out of obligation, but out of genuine desire. Gratitude must come from sincerity. Empty praise or exaggerated compliments do more harm than good. People can sense when your words are rehearsed, but when your appreciation is real, it carries emotional weight. Look for what's genuinely good in others. Notice the details, someone's reliability, consistency, or thoughtfulness. Speak it out loud. Gratitude unspoken is gratitude lost. Every day offers a moment to express it, and every time you do, you strengthen the bond between you and those around you. To make people feel valued, gratitude should go beyond occasional thanks. It should become part of your daily rhythm. A quick message, a small note, a short acknowledgement during a meeting, all these moments compound into something powerful. You build an environment where people feel seen and respected. In families, gratitude turns routine love into lasting affection. In friendships, it deepens connection. In work and leadership, it becomes the foundation of lasting respect. The most respected leaders are often the most grateful ones. They understand that their success is not the result of their effort alone. Behind every achievement stands a team, a friend, or even a stranger who made it possible. Gratitude keeps ego in check. It reminds you that no matter how far you rise, you never rise alone. When a leader expresses appreciation publicly, they create a culture where acknowledgement is valued. People feel proud to contribute when their effort is noticed. Gratitude also changes the one who gives it. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already working. When you choose to see the good in others, you train your mind to recognize abundance instead of scarcity. You stop waiting for perfection before showing appreciation. Gratitude makes you kinder, calmer, and more grounded. It removes the tension that comes from constantly demanding more, and replaces it with peace that comes from seeing enough. Some people withhold gratitude out of fear. It makes them feel vulnerable or dependent. But expressing appreciation doesn't weaken you. It strengthens your influence. It shows emotional maturity and self-assurance. It tells others that you're confident enough to celebrate others' strengths without feeling diminished. The truly strong never lose power by lifting others. They gain it. Gratitude turns competition into cooperation and builds bridges where ego once built walls. To express gratitude effectively, be specific. Don't just say, "Thank you." Say, "Thank you for taking the time to help me when I was under pressure." Specific gratitude shows attention. It proves you noticed the action and the intention behind it. This precision makes the appreciation more meaningful and memorable. Generic praise fades fast. Detailed gratitude lingers in the heart. Sometimes, gratitude is best shown through action, not words. Returning kindness, supporting others in their time of need, or simply showing up when it matters, communicates appreciation on a deeper level. Actions backed by sincerity speak louder than compliments said in passing. Gratitude is not only what you say, it's how you behave afterward. When you make gratitude a daily practice, you begin to notice how it changes the tone of your interactions. Conversations become softer, disagreements become easier to navigate, and relationships become more cooperative. The energy of appreciation replaces defensiveness. People feel safe expressing their thoughts when they know they're valued for their contributions. Gratitude has the quiet power to dissolve tension without force or argument. One of the greatest gifts you can give someone is recognition. It costs nothing but can mean everything. People want to feel that what they do matters. When you express gratitude, you satisfy that deep human need for significance. A few kind words can restore motivation, heal misunderstanding, or inspire renewed effort. Gratitude doesn't just build relationships, it repairs them. In moments of stress or disappointment, gratitude acts as an anchor. It prevents you from becoming bitter or cynical. When you train yourself to look for what's still good, you keep perspective even when things go wrong. You begin to realize that challenges don't erase blessings, they often reveal them. Gratitude helps you lead with grace instead of frustration, compassion instead of blame. In influence and persuasion, gratitude is a silent force. When you thank others genuinely, they naturally want to continue helping you. Appreciation inspires cooperation far better than criticism ever could. It turns followers into supporters and supporters into allies. Gratitude draws people in because everyone wants to be around someone who makes them feel valued. Don't wait for big events to express thanks. Small, consistent appreciation builds deeper loyalty than grand gestures done once in a while. The simple habit of noticing effort and acknowledging it daily transforms ordinary interactions into meaningful connections. Say thank you when someone listens, when someone shows up, when someone tries their best. The frequency of your gratitude defines the depth of your relationships. Gratitude also teaches humility. It reminds you that everyone contributes something valuable, even those who may not get recognition often. The janitor who keeps the space clean, the co-worker who stays late quietly, the friend who checks in without being asked. These people hold up the structure of our lives in ways that are easy to overlook. Expressing gratitude to them reflects not just politeness, but awareness. You can elevate your influence instantly by practicing gratitude in difficult situations. Thank people even when things don't go perfectly. Gratitude under pressure shows character. It communicates that you value effort, not just outcomes. This kind of appreciation motivates others to keep giving their best, knowing their intent is noticed even when results fall short. Gratitude that endures through difficulty is the purest kind. There's also a personal peace that comes with being thankful. It keeps your mind free from resentment. The more you focus on gratitude, the less you dwell on what's unfair. It shifts you from complaint to clarity, from demand to acceptance. When you look for reasons to be grateful, you find them everywhere in a kind gesture, a simple smile, or even a lesson learned from hardship. The most magnetic people in life radiate appreciation. You can feel it in their presence. They make others feel special, not by trying to impress them, but by recognizing their worth. They say thank you with intention, they listen with patience, and they notice details others overlook. Their gratitude becomes their charm, and that charm draws people naturally toward them. As you move forward in life, make it your mission to express gratitude often and sincerely. Don't assume people know you appreciate them. Tell them, write it, say it, show it. Gratitude multiplies the good around you and strengthens your influence without force. It doesn't just make others feel valued, it transforms who you are. Because when you live with a grateful heart, you don't just make people feel appreciated, you make them feel seen, respected, and remembered. And that is what leaves a lasting impression long after words fade. Chapter 12. Simplify your message, so others follow your ideas easily. Clarity is power. The moment your message becomes simple, your influence multiplies. People don't follow what they don't understand, and they don't stay committed to what feels complicated. The ability to simplify your message isn't about dumbing things down. It's about lifting confusion away so that truth can be seen clearly. The greatest communicators in history had one thing in common: they made complex ideas sound effortless. They didn't try to impress with big words, they inspired with clear ones. When you simplify your message, you give people something to hold on to. Every unnecessary word is a wall between you and your listener. The clearer your expression, the faster people connect. Complexity creates distance. Simplicity builds trust. People want direction, not decoration. If your message requires too much thinking before it's understood, it will be forgotten as soon as you stop speaking. Simplicity gives your words a heartbeat. It makes them live in the minds of others long after you've spoken them. The goal of clear communication is not to show how much you know, but to make others feel that they understand. That's what real influence is. When people can take your idea, remember it easily, and act on it. To reach that point, you must strip away what's unnecessary. Remove the noise, the fillers, and the over-explanation. Ask yourself, if I could only say one thing, what would it be? That's the core of your message. Build around that truth, not around fancy phrasing. Simplicity doesn't come from speaking less. It comes from speaking precisely. A few words chosen well carry more power than 100 spoken without thought. People respect clarity because it respects their time and intelligence. When you express your ideas simply, you're not making them smaller, you're making them stronger. The clearer your message, the more people see themselves in it. They don't have to decode your meaning, they can feel it immediately. You can test the strength of your message by observing how easily it spreads. If others can repeat your idea without losing its meaning, you've communicated effectively. A message that's too complicated dies in the same moment it's heard. But a simple one lives on. It gets shared, discussed, and remembered. The most powerful ideas don't echo because they're loud, they echo because they're clear. Think about how people learn best. They connect to stories, to examples, to simple truths that reflect their own lives. When you communicate, speak to that part of the mind that wants to understand, not the part that wants to analyze. Don't hide behind jargon or technical terms when plain language will do. Great thinkers simplify because they've done the hard work of understanding. Simplicity is the reward of deep thought, not a sign of shallow thinking. When you share your ideas, remember that your listener may not have the same background, experience, or knowledge. It's your responsibility to make your point accessible. The clearer you are, the more respect you show your audience. People admire intelligence, but they trust clarity. The truth you express simply becomes a truth people can believe in, and once they believe, they follow. To simplify your message, begin with structure. Every idea needs a path, beginning, middle, and end. Start by stating your purpose directly, then explain why it matters. Finish with what the listener should remember or do next. If you can deliver that in a few clear sentences, your message is already strong. Simplicity doesn't mean speaking fast. It means guiding your listener with purpose. Avoid overloading your message with too many points. When everything is important, nothing stands out. Choose one main idea and let every sentence support it. Repetition isn't always the answer. Precision is. People don't need more information. They need clear direction. Simplicity is the bridge that connects your idea to their understanding. Simplicity also requires emotional awareness. When people are overwhelmed or distracted, they don't process long explanations. They respond to clarity mixed with calm energy. The tone of your delivery matters as much as the words themselves. Speak with confidence, pause with intention, and allow your message to breathe. Silence between your words gives people time to absorb them. The listener should never feel rushed to understand you. One of the best ways to make your message simple is to visualize it. When people can picture what you're saying, they'll remember it. Use comparisons that are easy to relate to, but avoid turning your communication into a show. The goal is not to entertain, but to enlighten. When you describe something in clear, tangible terms, your message takes shape in the listener's mind. That's where influence begins. not when you speak, but when they start to see what you mean. Simplicity also comes from honesty. When you speak truthfully, your message naturally becomes clear. You don't need to hide behind complicated phrases or vague explanations. The truth doesn't need decoration, it needs courage. The moment you express what's real, your words gain weight. People sense authenticity before they understand logic. A simple, honest message will move hearts faster than a complicated one built to impress. There's beauty in restraint. When you learn to hold back unnecessary words, you make space for meaning to stand out. The most effective communicators know when to stop. They understand that silence can be more powerful than endless elaboration. The message doesn't need to fill every second, it needs to land deeply. Simplicity gives your ideas time to settle. As you refine your ability to simplify, you'll notice something remarkable. People begin to trust you more. They see you as someone who brings clarity to confusion. They listen not because you speak loudly, but because you make sense. That's how authority is built. Not through dominance, but through understanding. People follow those who help them see clearly. If you want your message to lead others toward action, make it memorable. Break long thoughts into clean, powerful sentences. Replace complicated language with words that feel natural to say and easy to recall. Ask yourself, would someone remember this tomorrow? If not, simplify again. Every time you remove an unnecessary word, your message becomes lighter, sharper, and stronger. Simplicity also demands empathy. To communicate well, you must think about how your words will sound to others, not just how they sound to you. Ask yourself what your listener might feel, what they might question, what they might misunderstand. When you anticipate confusion, you can prevent it. When you make your message easy to follow, people feel respected. They don't have to work to understand you, they simply receive the message. Great communicators don't just deliver information, they create connection. And connection only happens when people understand you easily. Simplicity breaks barriers faster than charisma ever could. It invites people in. It gives them space to think, to agree, and to participate. The more you simplify, the more your message belongs to everyone, not just a few. If you want to inspire people, make your message feel clear and useful. A person who understands your idea can share it with confidence. That's how influence grows. It's not about how much you say, but how clearly your message lives in others' minds. Simplicity ensures that your words don't just pass through people, they stay with them. So, every time you speak, write, or explain, aim for clarity over complexity. Choose words that bring understanding, not confusion. Be patient enough to refine your message until it flows naturally. When your communication becomes simple, you become magnetic. People listen longer, trust deeper, and act faster. Because simplicity isn't just good communication, it's leadership in its purest form. Chapter 13. Stay authentic so your influence remains pure and strong. Authenticity is the foundation of true influence. People are drawn to those who are real because authenticity communicates trust, integrity, and inner strength. When your actions match your words and your values guide your decisions, influence grows naturally and sustainably. Trying to imitate others, to project an image that isn't yours, may work temporarily, but it will eventually crumble. Lasting respect and real power come only from being genuinely yourself. Being authentic begins with self-awareness. You must know your principles, your boundaries, and your motivations. Without this clarity, it's easy to sway with the opinions of others or adopt behaviors that don't fit who you are. Self-awareness allows you to make choices that align with your values, even under pressure. People can sense when someone is inconsistent or disingenuous, and that perception erodes trust faster than any mistake you could make. Authenticity also demands courage. It takes bravery to speak honestly, to admit mistakes, and to stand firm in your beliefs when others doubt you. People respect those who act with integrity, even if it isn't the easiest path. When you're willing to be honest about who you are and what you stand for, you send a powerful message. You are confident in your identity, and you expect others to respect it. That confidence alone inspires loyalty and trust. Transparency is a key aspect of authenticity. Being open about your intentions, goals, and limitations fosters an environment of honesty. People follow leaders who are clear and predictable in their behavior. They feel secure because they know what to expect. When you conceal your true intentions or manipulate situations, you create doubt. The stronger your transparency, the purer your influence. Consistency reinforces authenticity. Your credibility grows when your words and actions are aligned across time and situations. One-off acts of honesty are noticed, but repeated integrity builds a reputation that lasts. People gravitate toward those who are steady and reliable because consistency communicates trustworthiness. Every choice you make that reflects your true self strengthens your influence in ways that charm or persuasion alone cannot. Authenticity also involves embracing your imperfections. Trying to appear flawless disconnects you from others. People relate to vulnerability because it is real. Admitting challenges, sharing lessons learned, and showing humility make you approachable and human. Your influence becomes stronger when others see that you are genuine, not artificially polished or untouchable. Authentic leaders inspire not by being perfect, but by being relatable and principled. To remain authentic, avoid comparing yourself to others or adopting behaviors purely for approval. Influence is not about fitting a mold. It is about amplifying your natural strengths while remaining true to your values. When you chase validation externally, your voice becomes diluted. When you act from your core, influence becomes natural because it is rooted in truth. People are drawn to the real, not the performed. Authenticity also requires reflection. Daily assessment of your actions and intentions helps ensure alignment with your principles. Ask yourself whether your behavior reflects your beliefs, or whether it was shaped by fear, convenience, or the desire to impress. Regular reflection strengthens self-trust and allows you to course-correct before inconsistency erodes credibility. Your communication should also reflect authenticity. Speak clearly and honestly, without exaggeration or manipulation. Avoid saying what you think people want to hear. When your words are grounded in truth, others sense sincerity immediately. Clear, honest communication builds confidence in your character and reinforces the authenticity of your influence. Empathy enhances authenticity. Understanding others doesn't mean changing who you are. It means connecting your truth to their reality. People appreciate honesty that is tempered with awareness and respect. By balancing authenticity with empathy, you communicate powerfully without alienating or controlling. Your message lands more deeply because it resonates on both emotional and rational levels. Authenticity is tested in difficult situations. When under pressure, it's tempting to compromise values or hide your true intentions to achieve a quick gain. Resisting that temptation defines your long-term influence. Acting with integrity even when it's challenging demonstrates strength and earns lasting respect. People notice resilience as much as talent or authority. Influence grows when authenticity is visible in action. Whether in leadership, persuasion, or daily interactions, your behavior must match your intentions. People observe subtleties: the way you respond to criticism, how you treat those with less power, how you follow through on promises. Each act of consistency and integrity compounds, reinforcing your authenticity and strengthening your influence. Authenticity also inspires confidence in others. When you are genuine, people feel safe to be themselves. Your influence is not about control, but about creating space where others can trust and engage freely. Leaders who project authenticity invite collaboration and loyalty because people sense they are being treated honestly and respectfully. Maintaining authenticity requires resisting external pressures to conform to trends, opinions, or expectations that conflict with your core values. It demands self-respect and inner discipline. Influence rooted in imitation or pretense is fragile, but influence rooted in authenticity endures. People can feel the difference between someone who leads with truth and someone who leads with convenience or performance. True authenticity integrates humility. You don't have to prove superiority or perfection. Influence is not about dominance. It is about alignment of words, actions, and character. Humility allows you to learn from others, acknowledge mistakes, and remain grounded, which strengthens trust and respect. People are naturally drawn to those who demonstrate self-assuredness without arrogance. Your reputation as an authentic person multiplies influence beyond your immediate interactions. Word of mouth spreads credibility. Others observe and emulate your behavior. Being authentic sets a standard for integrity in your environment. Influence that stems from authenticity is powerful because it is undeniable. It doesn't require persuasion through artifice. Authenticity also creates resilience. When you face setbacks, remaining true to your principles gives you clarity and direction. You don't lose your way chasing approval or imitating others. Challenges become opportunities to reinforce your character rather than temptations to compromise it. Resilient authenticity builds trust because people can rely on your steadiness regardless of circumstances. Influence grounded in authenticity is magnetic. People naturally gravitate toward those who are real because it reduces uncertainty. They know where they stand and they feel safe engaging. Authenticity creates a presence that commands attention, quietly, without the need for manipulation or force. Influence becomes effortless when it flows from genuine character. To practice authenticity daily, observe your intentions and align them with your actions. Speak honestly, act consistently, and honor your commitments. Value your principles above convenience. Treat others with respect, without pretending to be something you're not. Over time, these consistent practices build a reputation of trustworthiness, reliability, and integrity. Authenticity strengthens every other skill of influence. Listening, persuasion, patience, communication, all are amplified when your foundation is genuine. People are more willing to follow, cooperate, and engage with someone they trust as real. Conversely, even the most polished techniques fail if authenticity is absent. Real power is invisible to the eye, but palpable in every interaction. Remaining authentic requires vigilance and reflection, but the rewards are immeasurable. Influence built on authenticity is unshakable because it doesn't rely on image or manipulation. It grows quietly, steadily, and enduringly. When your influence is rooted in truth, it becomes a force for meaningful connection, loyalty, and progress that cannot be taken away. Authenticity is not optional for those who seek lasting influence. It is essential. Every choice you make, every word you speak, and every action you take shapes how others perceive you. The stronger your commitment to being genuine, the purer your influence becomes. When you live and lead with authenticity, your presence resonates, your relationships deepen, and your power grows in ways that are natural, lasting, and undeniable. Chapter 14. Build credibility by keeping every promise you ever make. Credibility is the currency of influence, and it is earned one promise at a time. Every commitment you make is a reflection of your integrity, and keeping it builds a reputation that no amount of persuasion or charm can replicate. When people trust that you will do what you say, your words carry weight, your ideas gain traction, and your presence becomes magnetic. Influence is impossible without credibility, and credibility begins with honoring every promise, no matter how small. Promises are not just agreements, they are contracts of trust. Each time you commit to something, whether personal or professional, people are watching. They measure your reliability not by intention, but by action. When you follow through, you demonstrate that your word is solid and that people can depend on you. This creates a ripple effect. As trust grows, relationships deepen, collaboration becomes easier, and influence strengthens naturally. Breaking a promise, even unintentionally, can erode trust faster than it took years to build. It sends a silent message that your commitments are negotiable. People may forgive once, but repeated failures to keep promises create doubt and hesitation. If others question your reliability, they stop investing fully in your ideas. Credibility is fragile, and each promise you keep acts as a reinforcement that solidifies your character in the eyes of everyone around you. To build credibility, you must start with intentionality. Only make promises you can realistically keep. Assess your capacity, resources, and time before committing. Overpromising may feel strategic in the moment, but it undermines trust if you fail to deliver. It's far more powerful to underpromise and overdeliver than to promise the world and underperform. This discipline reflects self-awareness, honesty, and respect for others. Accountability is key to maintaining credibility. When you make a promise, track it and follow through without delay. Communicate progress and manage expectations along the way. People value transparency as much as completion. If circumstances change, explaining honestly and promptly why a commitment may shift demonstrates integrity rather than carelessness. Accountability shows that you take your words seriously and respect the trust others place in you. Consistency in keeping promises compounds credibility over time. One act of reliability can create initial trust, but repeated fulfillment of commitments builds an unshakable reputation. People begin to associate your name with dependability. This reputation transcends individual interactions. It becomes part of your influence. The more consistent you are, the more people feel confident aligning their actions and decisions with yours. Every promise, no matter how small, matters. Simple commitments like responding to a message on time, arriving when expected, or completing a task you agreed to, communicate that you are reliable in all areas of life. People notice patterns of dependability and respond to them. A person who consistently honors small promises is trusted with bigger responsibilities, leadership roles, and deeper collaboration. Honoring promises also strengthens internal discipline. Each commitment you keep reinforces your self-respect and confidence. You begin to trust your own ability to deliver, which empowers you to take on more significant challenges without hesitation. Credibility isn't only external, it is cultivated internally when you consistently align your intentions with your actions. Transparency enhances the credibility of your promises. When you make a commitment, be clear about what it entails. Avoid vague or ambiguous language that can create confusion or unmet expectations. Clarity demonstrates professionalism and foresight. People trust leaders who are precise about what they will do because they know there will be no surprises, only follow through. Credibility grows when promises are linked to results. Meeting deadlines, fulfilling agreements, and honoring commitments to standards and quality communicates competence. Words alone inspire little, action solidifies belief. Influence stems from the perception that when you commit, you deliver with consistency and excellence. People naturally follow those they can rely on to act effectively. Promises are also a reflection of respect. By keeping your word, you show that you value the time, effort, and trust of others. Breaking promises communicates disregard, even if unintentionally. Respect earns loyalty, while neglect erodes relationships. Credibility is sustained by demonstrating that every promise is treated with care and importance, regardless of scale or context. In relationships, credibility through promise-keeping fosters deep emotional trust. Partners, friends, and colleagues feel secure knowing that what you say will be followed by action. This security reduces conflict, builds stronger cooperation, and encourages open communication. People are willing to invest more in relationships where reliability is evident. Trust accelerates collaboration, and credibility paves the path for influence. Influence and credibility are inseparable. The more people perceive you as reliable, the more weight your ideas carry. They are more likely to follow your guidance, support your vision, and advocate for your goals. Words alone may inspire curiosity, but actions validate belief. Every promise kept strengthens your authority and enhances your ability to persuade effectively. Even under pressure, the promise you make is your bond. Challenges, unexpected obstacles, and adversity test your commitment. Credibility is proven, not in easy circumstances, but when you honor commitments despite difficulties. People admire those who navigate challenges without compromising their word. Reliability under pressure elevates respect and solidifies influence in ways that are long-lasting. Breaking a promise without acknowledgement damages credibility more than the failure itself. When unavoidable circumstances prevent fulfillment, owning the situation transparently is essential. Communicate openly, offer solutions, and restore trust through proactive follow-up. The measure of credibility is not perfection, but responsibility and accountability when faced with imperfection. A track record of keeping promises builds a network of allies and supporters. People feel confident aligning themselves with someone whose word is dependable. They recommend you, advocate for you, and entrust you with responsibilities. Influence is magnified when credibility becomes visible through consistent action, creating a reputation that precedes you. Building credibility also involves long-term vision. Don't compromise trust for short-term gains. Every promise you break to win immediate advantage diminishes the strength of future influence. People remember patterns more than isolated actions. Integrity is cumulative. Each promise kept strengthens a foundation that supports your personal and professional relationships for years to come. Keeping promises requires discipline, focus, and intentionality. Avoid the temptation to make commitments impulsively. Plan, assess, and ensure you can deliver before saying yes. This approach demonstrates maturity and foresight, and it protects your credibility from unnecessary erosion. Strong influence is rooted in careful, consistent actions, not impulsive declarations. The power of promises lies in their compounding effect. Each act of reliability builds trust, strengthens relationships, and expands influence. Over time, people come to expect fulfillment as a given, creating a reputation that opens doors, fosters collaboration, and builds long-term respect. Credibility transforms simple commitments into powerful tools of persuasion and leadership. Influence is strongest when credibility is unwavering. People are more likely to follow, support, and believe in someone whose word is dependable. Every promise kept reinforces the perception of integrity, consistency, and competence. Credibility becomes an invisible force that amplifies everything you say and do. When you honor every commitment, influence is no longer an aspiration. It becomes a natural result of your integrity in action. Chapter 15. Handle rejection gracefully to gain long-term respect. Rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It is an opportunity to demonstrate resilience, composure, and character. The way you respond to rejection defines how others perceive you far more than the rejection itself. People respect those who maintain dignity, grace, and calm when faced with no, because it shows strength, self-control, and emotional maturity. Handling rejection gracefully transforms a temporary setback into a long-term advantage, earning respect that lasts far beyond the immediate moment. When rejection occurs, the first instinct is often to react defensively, emotionally, or with frustration. These reactions are natural, but they undermine influence. Responding with calm awareness, even when disappointment is strong, conveys that your self-worth is not tied to approval. This does not mean suppressing feelings. It means acknowledging them internally without allowing them to dictate your behavior. Maintaining composure demonstrates leadership in its purest form. Acknowledging rejection without taking it personally is critical. A no often reflects circumstances, priorities, or perspectives that have little to do with your capabilities. Separating your identity from the outcome allows you to respond rationally rather than emotionally. People observe how you navigate rejection, and your measured reaction communicates confidence and professionalism. Grace under pressure becomes a silent form of influence. Rejection handled gracefully creates a space for reflection. Instead of reacting impulsively, step back and analyze the situation. What lessons can be learned? What insights can guide future approaches? Viewing rejection as feedback rather than failure allows you to grow, improve, and adapt. This mindset transforms challenges into stepping stones for long-term success and influence. When faced with rejection, respond with gratitude. Thank the person for their consideration, their time, or their perspective. Gratitude in the face of a setback demonstrates maturity and emotional intelligence. People remember those who respond with respect even when circumstances are unfavorable. This approach preserves relationships, keeps doors open, and reinforces your credibility. Handling rejection gracefully also means avoiding blame or argument. Resisting the urge to justify yourself or criticize others elevates your character. Instead, accept the outcome and move forward with dignity. People respect those who take accountability for their actions, even when external factors lead to disappointment. Graceful acceptance signals strength, not weakness. Emotional control is key in navigating rejection. Reacting impulsively may satisfy a fleeting desire to vent, but it damages long-term respect. Pausing, breathing, and responding thoughtfully conveys restraint and composure. People naturally gravitate toward those who manage emotions effectively, recognizing that stability reflects competence and reliability. Rejection is an opportunity to reinforce relationships rather than sever them. A respectful response can turn a declined proposal, request, or offer into future collaboration. When you handle rejection without bitterness, you signal that you value people beyond immediate outcomes. This long-term perspective builds trust and positions you as someone others want to engage with repeatedly. Confidence plays a vital role in responding to rejection. Remaining self-assured in your abilities, even when faced with denial, communicates resilience. Confidence does not come from arrogance, but from the understanding that a single setback does not define your potential. People admire and follow those who can remain grounded, steady, and composed under adversity. Graceful handling of rejection also involves maintaining professionalism. Whether in business, personal relationships, or social interactions, conduct yourself with respect and courtesy. Avoid gossiping, complaining, or expressing resentment. Your integrity in these moments speaks louder than any success or accomplishment, reinforcing influence and earning long-term respect. Perspective is crucial. Rejection is often temporary, situational, or circumstantial. Keeping a broad perspective prevents discouragement and allows you to focus on opportunities that align with your goals. Demonstrating calm acceptance in the face of rejection shows that you are strategic, patient, and emotionally intelligent, qualities that attract trust and admiration. A thoughtful response to rejection can even enhance relationships. Expressing openness to feedback, curiosity about reasons behind the decision, or willingness to revisit in the future shows maturity. People are more inclined to consider your ideas later when they recognize your ability to respond respectfully, learn, and adapt. Graceful responses plant seeds for future success. Rejection handled poorly diminishes influence immediately. Emotional outbursts, hostility or self-pity erode credibility and create doubt. Others hesitate to trust, follow, or collaborate with someone who cannot manage setbacks. By contrast, a calm, composed response turns rejection into a testament to character, creating influence that endures even in challenging circumstances. Understanding the universality of rejection helps maintain composure. Everyone experiences denial at some point. Recognizing this reality normalizes the experience and reduces emotional intensity. Responding with acceptance rather than resentment demonstrates wisdom and emotional maturity. People are drawn to those who see setbacks as part of the journey rather than personal failures. Practicing resilience in the face of rejection strengthens long-term influence. Each encounter becomes an opportunity to refine emotional responses, sharpen judgment, and develop patience. The more consistently you handle rejection with poise, the more people recognize your reliability and stability. Influence grows quietly through repeated demonstration of resilience and composure. Handling rejection gracefully also involves keeping your focus forward. Dwelling on the denial or ruminating on negative feelings diverts energy from future opportunities. By redirecting focus to actionable steps, learning, and continued effort, you model perseverance. People respect those who prioritize progress over dwelling on setbacks, recognizing determination as a hallmark of leadership. Rejection can also provide clarity. Sometimes denial reveals misalignment with goals, priorities, or values. By accepting rejection gracefully, you gain the opportunity to pivot, adjust strategies, and refine your approach. This self-awareness, coupled with composure, enhances credibility and positions you as someone capable of navigating challenges strategically. Long-term respect is cultivated through consistent responses to rejection. One incident may be overlooked, but repeated patterns of grace, calm, and professionalism solidify reputation. People remember behavior under pressure more than achievements alone. Handling rejection with poise communicates reliability, emotional intelligence, and integrity, which are the pillars of lasting influence. Graceful rejection management strengthens interpersonal influence by demonstrating fairness and self-control. People trust those who can separate emotion from action, who can accept outcomes without resentment, and who can engage constructively afterward. Influence grows not just from what you achieve, but from how you respond when outcomes are unfavorable. Ultimately, mastering the art of handling rejection is about building respect over time. Each encounter where you maintain composure, acknowledge reality, and respond thoughtfully reinforces credibility. People recognize that your influence is rooted not in fleeting approval, but in consistent, principled behavior. Respect earned this way endures far longer than success won through force, charm, or manipulation. When rejection arises, approach it with the mindset of opportunity rather than defeat. Accept it gracefully, learn from it, and maintain your composure. People will notice your resilience, your dignity, and your ability to remain influential regardless of circumstances. Over time, this approach transforms rejection from a setback into a powerful tool for long-term respect and enduring influence. Chapter 16: Motivate others by showing belief in their true potential. Belief has the power to awaken potential that even the individual may not yet see. When someone senses that you genuinely trust in their abilities, they rise to meet that confidence with energy, focus, and determination. Motivation is not built on pressure or obligation. It is cultivated through faith in others, a conviction that they can achieve more than they currently realize. Showing belief in someone's true potential is one of the most powerful tools to inspire action, dedication, and growth. To motivate effectively, you must first recognize the strengths in those around you. Look beyond the surface and see the unique talents, skills, and qualities that may be dormant or underutilized. People are often unaware of their capabilities or hesitant to embrace them fully. By acknowledging these hidden strengths, you provide a mirror in which they can see themselves as capable, competent, and valuable contributors. This recognition is the foundation of genuine motivation. Belief must be expressed authentically. Empty praise or generalized encouragement fails to inspire because it lacks substance. Specific, sincere acknowledgement of someone's abilities demonstrates that you truly see them. Highlight achievements, progress, or qualities that matter. When individuals feel recognized in ways that resonate personally, they are more likely to take initiative, accept challenges, and commit to growth. Your belief becomes a fuel that drives performance. Motivation through belief also requires communication of possibility. Paint a vision of what could be, not just what is. Help others imagine outcomes that align with their talents and potential. When people can envision themselves succeeding, they are more willing to take action. You don't need to solve their challenges for them. Your role is to illuminate the path, showing confidence in their ability to navigate it successfully. Trust is a critical component. When someone knows that you have faith in their abilities, they gain the courage to act despite fear or uncertainty. Trust reduces self-doubt and opens the door to experimentation and risk-taking. By consistently demonstrating belief, you create an environment where individuals feel safe to stretch beyond current limitations, knowing that support accompanies expectation. Motivating through belief involves patience. Growth is rarely instant, and people often progress at different paces. Expressing unwavering confidence, even when progress is slow, reinforces determination. It communicates that effort matters more than perfection, and that your trust is anchored in potential, not just immediate results. This patience fosters resilience and commitment in ways temporary pressure or demands cannot. To amplify motivation, combine belief with actionable guidance. Identify opportunities for development and offer support to navigate them. Suggest practical steps while maintaining faith in their capacity to achieve. Guidance framed within trust empowers individuals rather than constrains them. Motivation thrives when people feel capable and supported simultaneously. Encouragement should be consistent. Occasional affirmation may inspire momentarily, but sustained belief builds a lasting sense of possibility. Regular acknowledgement of effort, improvement, and progress reinforces confidence. People internalize these signals, and their motivation becomes self-sustaining. The more consistently belief is expressed, the deeper its impact on performance and growth. Listening carefully enhances your ability to demonstrate belief. By understanding aspirations, fears, and challenges, you can tailor your support and encouragement effectively. When you respond to the individual's reality with insight and optimism, your belief feels tangible. People are motivated when they know that someone sees both their struggles and their potential and is willing to champion them through both. Your own attitude sets the tone. Genuine enthusiasm and commitment to others' success communicates belief more powerfully than words alone. Energy, presence, and focus convey confidence in someone's abilities. People mirror your conviction. When they perceive your sincere trust in their potential, it ignites their own confidence and willingness to act. Belief in others often inspires them to take ownership of their goals. When you show faith in their capabilities, individuals feel responsible not just to themselves, but to the trust placed in them. This accountability motivates action, fosters self-discipline, and encourages initiative. People rise to meet expectations, rooted in confidence, because it validates their sense of competence and value. Challenges provide opportunities to demonstrate belief. When setbacks occur, continue to affirm trust in ability and potential. Resilience is modeled by showing that temporary obstacles do not diminish capability. By framing challenges as moments to demonstrate talent, growth, and perseverance, you motivate people to confront difficulties with determination rather than retreat. Avoid focusing solely on weaknesses when motivating. Highlighting potential emphasizes strengths and possibilities, encouraging people to expand rather than retreat. Constructive feedback should be balanced with recognition of ability. Motivation rooted in belief builds confidence, whereas criticism alone can create doubt and disengagement. Positive reinforcement, guided by insight, inspires forward momentum. Empathy amplifies motivation. Understanding the emotional landscape of others allows you to frame encouragement in ways that resonate. People respond to support that feels attuned to their experience. When belief is expressed in alignment with feelings and context, it becomes a powerful catalyst for action, transforming doubt into determination. Belief can also inspire collective growth. When a team senses that their leader or peers recognize individual potential, group morale strengthens. People become more cooperative, proactive, and willing to contribute. Motivation spreads when belief is visible and consistent, creating an environment where collective energy drives achievement. Long-term influence is enhanced when belief is shown consistently over time. Temporary motivation fades quickly, but enduring faith in abilities builds trust and loyalty. People remember those who supported them during uncertainty or growth periods. This loyalty extends beyond immediate tasks, strengthening relationships and influence over the long term. Belief motivates because it bridges the gap between what is and what could be. It provides a vision of possibility while validating current capabilities. When combined with guidance, patience, and recognition, it transforms hesitation into action, doubt into effort, and potential into achievement. Motivation becomes a natural byproduct of trust, clarity, and faith in ability. To motivate effectively, focus on individualized support, understand unique strengths, aspirations, and challenges, express belief that is specific, sincere, and aligned with personal potential, encourage effort, acknowledge progress, and provide opportunities for growth. Your belief communicates confidence not only in their abilities, but in their value, inspiring action and commitment that persists. Belief in others' potential creates a ripple effect. People who are motivated through genuine faith often extend the same confidence to those around them, cultivating a culture of encouragement and achievement. By consistently demonstrating belief, you inspire others to reach higher, take responsibility, and contribute meaningfully. Influence grows exponentially through the momentum of empowered individuals. Showing belief in someone's true potential is a commitment to seeing the best in them. Even when they doubt themselves, it requires patience, insight, and sincerity. Motivation grounded in genuine confidence in another person's abilities is transformative. People act, grow, and succeed not merely because of direction, but because they feel seen, trusted, and capable. When belief is unwavering, influence becomes enduring, and potential is realized in ways that leave lasting impact. Chapter 17. Resolve conflicts peacefully to gain loyalty and trust. Peaceful resolution is the cornerstone of trust, and those who can navigate conflict with calm and fairness inspire loyalty that lasts a lifetime. True influence is not built through dominance or intimidation, but through the ability to handle disagreements without escalating tension. When conflicts are addressed with composure, empathy, and strategic understanding, relationships strengthen, respect deepens, and people naturally align with your leadership. The first step in resolving conflict peacefully is to approach it with clarity and calm. Emotions often run high during disagreements, but responding impulsively only magnifies tension. Take a moment to observe your own feelings and commit to maintaining a composed demeanor. Calmness communicates control and authority, signaling that the situation can be managed constructively rather than destructively. Others will mirror your composure and are more likely to respond rationally. Listening carefully is essential. Many conflicts persist because individuals feel unheard. When you give others the space to express their perspective fully, you validate their experience and reduce defensiveness. Active listening involves more than hearing words. It requires attention to tone, body language, and underlying concerns. Demonstrating that you understand the other party's viewpoint sets the stage for collaboration rather than confrontation. Empathy plays a critical role in peaceful resolution. Understanding the emotions driving behavior allows you to respond in ways that are both respectful and effective. Recognize that conflicts are often rooted in unmet needs, fears, or miscommunications. By addressing these underlying factors rather than just surface-level disagreements, you create solutions that satisfy all parties and foster trust. People respect those who respond to their concerns with genuine understanding. Focus on common goals rather than differences. In conflicts, it is easy to become fixated on opposing positions, but lasting resolution comes from identifying shared objectives. Highlight areas of agreement and frame discussions around mutual benefits. This approach shifts the conversation from adversarial to cooperative, demonstrating strategic thinking and reinforcing the sense of partnership. Avoid blame and personal attacks. Criticism directed at character or intentions escalates conflict and damages relationships. Instead, address specific actions, decisions, or outcomes. Constructive dialogue encourages problem-solving and reduces defensiveness. Maintaining respect throughout demonstrates integrity and earns long-term credibility. People are more likely to follow and support those who handle disagreement without resorting to hostility. Clear communication is essential. Ambiguity prolongs conflict and fosters misunderstanding. Articulate your perspective calmly, with precision and respect. Use neutral language that focuses on resolution rather than judgment. Clarity signals confidence and competence, assuring others that the disagreement can be managed thoughtfully rather than emotionally. Negotiation is often necessary for peaceful resolution. Approach it with fairness and a willingness to compromise where appropriate. Flexibility does not indicate weakness. It demonstrates strategic thinking and commitment to a balanced outcome. People respect those who can negotiate effectively without sacrificing core principles, as it reflects both wisdom and moral integrity. Patience is a powerful tool. Conflicts rarely resolve instantly. Rushing or forcing outcomes often produces superficial solutions that fail over time. Allowing space for reflection, dialogue, and adjustment fosters genuine understanding. People notice patience as a sign of stability and emotional intelligence, which strengthens trust and loyalty. Acknowledging mistakes when appropriate builds credibility. Owning errors demonstrates accountability and maturity. People respect those who can admit fault without defensiveness, as it reflects honesty and reliability. Conflicts resolved with transparency often deepen relationships rather than weaken them, creating a foundation for sustained collaboration. Active problem-solving shifts the focus from confrontation to solutions. Ask questions that uncover the root cause of disagreement, explore alternatives, and involve all parties in generating ideas. When people participate in creating resolutions, they feel valued and invested in the outcome. Motivation and cooperation naturally increase when solutions are collaborative rather than imposed. Emotional regulation is critical throughout the process. Avoid reacting to provocations or allowing frustration to dictate responses. Remaining composed under pressure demonstrates strength and maturity. People naturally follow individuals who exhibit self-control, perceiving them as reliable anchors in turbulent situations. Your ability to stay calm communicates both respect and authority. Conflict resolution also requires foresight. Consider the long-term consequences of decisions and responses. Quick fixes may provide temporary relief, but can sow seeds of future disagreement. Strategic thinking involves balancing immediate resolution with lasting impact, ensuring that agreements reinforce trust rather than creating lingering resentment. Respectful acknowledgement of differing perspectives is essential. Even when you disagree, validate the other person's right to hold their opinion. Respecting differences fosters an environment where dialogue is productive rather than adversarial. Loyalty grows when people feel their viewpoints are considered seriously, even if outcomes are not entirely aligned with their preferences. Follow-up is key to sustaining trust after a resolution. Check in with parties involved to ensure agreements are implemented and relationships remain strong. This demonstrates commitment to lasting solutions rather than superficial fixes. Consistent follow-through signals reliability and reinforces the perception that you value people and their contributions. Modeling peaceful resolution sets a standard for others. People learn behavior through observation. By consistently demonstrating respect, composure, and fairness in conflicts, you influence the culture around you. Teams, colleagues, and communities respond to leaders who handle disagreements with grace, creating a network of loyalty and trust that extends beyond individual interactions. Avoiding escalation involves proactive management. Recognize early signs of tension and address issues before they become crises. Early intervention demonstrates awareness and responsibility, preventing unnecessary conflict and demonstrating foresight. People trust those who anticipate challenges and manage them strategically rather than reactively. Transparency strengthens conflict resolution. Be open about intentions, limitations, and expectations. Ambiguity breeds suspicion, while honesty fosters confidence. When people know where you stand and understand your reasoning, they are more likely to accept outcomes and maintain trust. Transparent communication solidifies relationships even when consensus is difficult. Peaceful resolution also involves maintaining dignity and respect for all parties. Avoid condescension, sarcasm, or manipulation. Treating others as equals throughout the process ensures that agreements are mutually beneficial and sustainable. Respectful resolution demonstrates character and builds influence because it shows that authority does not require intimidation. Finally, view conflict as an opportunity rather than a threat. Each disagreement is a chance to demonstrate integrity, strengthen relationships, and cultivate trust. Resolving conflicts peacefully transforms potential friction into collaboration, loyalty, and mutual respect. When approached with composure, empathy, and strategy, conflicts become catalysts for growth rather than obstacles, solidifying influence and inspiring confidence in all who observe your approach. Peaceful conflict resolution is not merely a skill, it is a reflection of character. Those who master it earn respect effortlessly, foster loyalty, and create environments where collaboration thrives. By approaching disagreements with calmness, empathy, clarity, and strategic thinking, you turn challenges into opportunities. The ability to resolve conflicts with integrity ensures that influence is not only maintained, but strengthened, leaving a legacy of trust and reliability that endures long after any single disagreement has passed. Chapter 18. Create win-win outcomes that strengthen every relationship. True influence is measured by the ability to create outcomes where everyone benefits and relationships grow stronger rather than fray under pressure. A win-win approach is not about compromise that sacrifices your goals, nor is it about winning at the expense of others. It is about finding solutions that respect the interests, needs, and ambitions of all involved. When people feel that they gain value while you achieve your objectives, trust deepens, loyalty strengthens, and collaboration flourishes. Creating win-win outcomes begins with understanding the perspectives of all parties. Listening actively and attentively allows you to identify not only explicit desires, but also underlying motivations and concerns. People often hold reservations or priorities that are not immediately visible. Recognizing these hidden factors enables you to craft solutions that genuinely satisfy everyone, demonstrating insight, empathy, and strategic thinking. Clarity of communication is essential. Clearly articulating your own goals, expectations, and limitations ensures that others understand your position. Transparency prevents misunderstandings and builds credibility. When people know where you stand and why certain outcomes matter to you, it becomes easier to find common ground. The combination of clear communication and attentive listening lays the foundation for mutually beneficial agreements. Flexibility and creativity are powerful tools in achieving win-win outcomes. Solutions that work for all parties rarely emerge from rigid thinking. By exploring multiple options, considering unconventional approaches, and being willing to adapt, you increase the chances of creating value for everyone. Creative problem-solving signals intelligence, foresight, and a commitment to collaboration, enhancing your influence and reputation. Respect for the other party's interests is non-negotiable. Genuine win-win solutions acknowledge and validate the goals and needs of others, rather than dismissing them in favor of your own. Demonstrating respect in negotiations and interactions reinforces trust and strengthens relationships. People are more willing to cooperate with someone who considers their success as seriously as their own. Win-win outcomes require a focus on long-term relationships rather than short-term gain. Sacrificing integrity or fairness for immediate advantage may produce temporary wins, but it erodes trust and diminishes influence over time. Prioritizing fairness, mutual benefit, and sustainability cultivates a reputation for reliability and ethical leadership. People remember how you treat them during negotiations and collaboration far longer than any single achievement. Empathy is a cornerstone of creating shared success. Understanding the emotions, challenges, and perspectives of others allows you to tailor agreements that satisfy both tangible and intangible needs. When people feel understood and valued, their willingness to engage cooperatively increases. Influence grows not through coercion, but through the demonstrated ability to recognize and honor the full human dimension of every interaction. Patience is essential in achieving equitable outcomes. Rushing discussions or pushing for immediate decisions often produces suboptimal compromises or superficial agreements. Allowing time for reflection, dialogue, and consideration ensures that solutions are well thought out and sustainable. Patience communicates confidence, self-control, and respect for all involved, reinforcing the perception of competence and authority. Win-win solutions emerge when collaboration replaces competition. Approach negotiations and interactions with the mindset of partnership rather than opposition. Emphasize common objectives, shared benefits, and mutual success. Cooperation encourages creativity, fosters trust, and strengthens bonds. When people perceive you as a partner rather than a competitor, loyalty and respect deepen naturally. Problem solving is more effective when focused on interests rather than positions. People often become entrenched in fixed demands, creating conflict rather than resolution. By uncovering the underlying needs behind stated positions, you open the door to solutions that satisfy core interests. This approach transforms disagreements into opportunities for collaboration and growth rather than confrontation. Win-win outcomes are reinforced by accountability. Ensure that commitments and agreements are upheld by all parties. Following through demonstrates reliability and builds confidence that future collaborations will be fair and productive. People are more willing to engage in joint ventures and share responsibilities when they trust that agreements will be honored. Transparency in intentions and processes strengthens trust. When people understand the reasoning, constraints, and opportunities behind decisions, they are more likely to buy into solutions. Openness reduces suspicion and fosters a cooperative atmosphere. Influence is amplified when stakeholders feel informed and respected in decision-making processes. Negotiation skills are integral to achieving shared success. Approach discussions strategically, with preparation, insight, and a clear understanding of both your objectives and those of others. Negotiation is most effective when it prioritizes creative solutions over zero-sum thinking. Skillful negotiation communicates competence, foresight, and fairness, building influence while achieving outcomes that satisfy all parties. Conflict resolution often intersects with win-win strategy. When disagreements arise, focus on solutions that address the concerns of everyone involved, rather than seeking dominance. By reframing conflict as an opportunity for mutual benefit, you transform tension into collaboration, strengthening relationships and reinforcing loyalty. People naturally respect those who navigate disputes with intelligence and fairness. Win-win outcomes require humility. Recognize that your way is not always the only or best path. Being open to alternative approaches demonstrates respect for the expertise, experience, and insight of others. Humility fosters trust, encourages participation, and ensures that solutions are stronger because they incorporate diverse perspectives. Influence grows when people feel valued and heard. Consistency in pursuing equitable solutions reinforces credibility. Repeatedly demonstrating fairness and collaborative problem-solving establishes a pattern of behavior that others recognize and rely upon. Reputation is built not by isolated successes, but by ongoing demonstration of integrity, competence, and commitment to shared benefit. People seek collaboration with those whose record of fairness is proven. Follow-through solidifies relationships. Agreements are meaningful only when implemented with integrity and attention to detail. Ensuring that commitments are honored strengthens trust, reinforces influence, and creates a cycle of positive interactions. People are more inclined to engage, cooperate, and contribute when they know agreements are reliable and executed as promised. Creating win-win outcomes is also about fostering empowerment. When others feel that their needs, perspectives, and contributions matter, they take greater ownership of actions and decisions. Empowered individuals are more proactive, engaged, and committed to shared goals. Motivation and initiative flourish when people feel valued as partners in creating success. Long-term influence grows when win-win thinking becomes habitual. Each interaction handled with fairness, creativity and respect builds a reputation for reliability and ethical leadership. People naturally seek to engage with those who consistently create positive, mutually beneficial outcomes. Influence is strengthened because relationships are built on trust, respect and shared success rather than coercion or manipulation. Ultimately, creating win-win outcomes transforms interactions from transactional to relational. Every decision, negotiation or collaboration approached with the goal of mutual benefit strengthens bonds, reinforces loyalty, and elevates trust. Influence becomes a natural byproduct of ethical, strategic, and empathetic engagement. People are drawn to those who can balance their own goals with the well-being and success of others, fostering an environment where cooperation, growth, and achievement thrive simultaneously. Chapter 19. Lead conversations toward shared goals with quiet confidence. Leading conversations toward shared goals begins with clarity of purpose. Before engaging, understand what you hope to achieve and why it matters. Being clear about intentions allows you to communicate with precision and avoid ambiguity. People respond to clarity because it provides a framework for understanding, decision-making, and action. Your confidence stems not from volume or assertiveness, but from the certainty and thoughtfulness behind your guidance. Listening carefully is as important as speaking. Conversations are not one-way transmissions. They are dynamic exchanges where understanding others' perspectives is essential. By listening attentively, you gain insight into priorities, concerns, and motivations. This knowledge allows you to frame dialogue in ways that resonate, building consensus without coercion. Quiet confidence manifests in the ability to absorb information fully, process it thoughtfully, and respond in ways that advance shared objectives. Empathy enhances your ability to lead discussions effectively. Recognizing the emotional state, motivations, and challenges of participants enables you to guide conversations with sensitivity and relevance. People are more willing to engage when they feel understood and respected. When empathy is paired with composure, it communicates strength and reliability, encouraging collaboration rather than resistance. Leading with quiet confidence requires restraint from interrupting or dominating the conversation. Allowing space for input, questions, and alternative viewpoints signals respect and maturity. When others feel heard, they are more likely to buy into the direction you propose. Influence is strengthened when people perceive that guidance comes from wisdom and composure rather than ego or forcefulness. Asking purposeful questions steers dialogue without dictating it. Thoughtful questions prompt reflection, clarify priorities, and uncover common ground. Questions invite engagement and demonstrate that you value contributions while keeping discussions focused on objectives. The subtle authority of quiet confidence often lies in the ability to guide thought and direction indirectly, fostering alignment naturally. Nonverbal communication reinforces leadership in conversation. Body language, tone, and demeanor convey confidence and control even before words are fully processed. Calm posture, measured pace of speech, and attentive eye contact communicate composure and focus. People subconsciously respond to these cues, finding assurance and direction in your presence. Framing discussions around shared goals is essential. Identify mutual interests and align dialogue with outcomes that benefit all participants. Avoid framing interactions in terms of personal gain or unilateral advantage. Anticipating objections and challenges demonstrates foresight. Prepare to address concerns calmly and rationally, providing solutions without dismissing the validity of differing opinions. People trust leaders who acknowledge complexity while maintaining direction. Addressing issues with composure and insight conveys reliability and encourages alignment. Patience strengthens the ability to guide conversations effectively. Meaningful dialogue often requires time for reflection, discussion, and synthesis of ideas. Rushing interactions can create tension or misunderstandings. Quiet confidence is reinforced when you can navigate discussions without urgency, allowing consensus to develop naturally while maintaining focus on shared objectives. Consistency in approach builds credibility. Repeatedly leading discussions with clarity, empathy, and composure signals reliability and earns respect. People are more likely to follow guidance when they perceive that leadership is grounded in steady principles rather than fluctuating temperament. Influence grows through repeated demonstration of measured and purposeful engagement. Conflict may arise even in goal-oriented discussions, and handling it with poise reinforces leadership. Address disagreements calmly, focus on facts and shared priorities, and avoid personal attacks or emotional escalation. People follow those who navigate tension with intelligence and restraint, recognizing that calm authority provides stability and direction. Encouraging participation fosters ownership of outcomes. When participants contribute ideas, provide feedback, and influence decisions, they feel invested in shared goals. Leading with quiet confidence does not exclude input, it channels contributions toward alignment. People are motivated to act when they feel both heard and guided toward purposeful objectives. Reinforce progress regularly. Acknowledge milestones, decisions, and alignment as the conversation develops. Recognition maintains focus, sustains engagement, and strengthens commitment. When people perceive that shared goals are actively being advanced, confidence in leadership and collective direction deepens. Flexibility within framework is crucial. While guiding toward shared goals, remain open to adjustments when new information or perspectives emerge. Quiet confidence is not rigidity, it balances steadfastness in purpose with responsiveness to reality. This balance encourages collaboration while ensuring objectives remain achievable. Closing conversations with clarity and actionable outcomes consolidates alignment. Summarize agreements, next steps, and responsibilities to ensure understanding. People follow those who provide direction, without ambiguity, reinforcing trust and commitment. Quiet confidence manifests in the ability to conclude discussions decisively while maintaining openness for continued dialogue. Leading conversations effectively also involves self-awareness. Monitor tone, language, and responses to ensure they reflect composure and purpose. Awareness of your influence on group dynamics allows adjustments that maintain alignment and mutual respect. Leadership is amplified when presence, words, and demeanor consistently convey reliability and vision. Mentorship and guidance emerge naturally from this approach. When conversations consistently lead toward shared goals, with calm authority, others look to you for insight and direction. Influence grows quietly but powerfully, rooted in respect, competence, and the demonstrated ability to unite people around common objectives. Ultimately, leading conversations toward shared goals with quiet confidence is a skill that combines clarity, empathy, composure, and strategic thinking. It transforms dialogue from mere exchange into purposeful collaboration. Influence is earned through the subtle power of presence, the ability to listen, guide, and align energies without force. People follow not because they are compelled, but because they sense the steadiness, insight, and integrity in your leadership. Chapter 20. Practice daily reflection to improve your persuasive power. The most powerful leaders and influencers are those who pause each day to examine their own thoughts, actions, and interactions, because reflection is the fuel that transforms experience into mastery. Daily reflection is not merely a habit, it is a deliberate practice that sharpens perception, deepens self-awareness and strengthens the ability to persuade with integrity. Each day presents opportunities to connect, influence and inspire, and without careful review, those moments may pass without lasting impact. Reflection begins with honesty. To improve your persuasive power, you must evaluate your actions and intentions without excuse or denial. Ask yourself what worked, what fell short, and why. This process requires courage, as it may reveal moments of misjudgment, impatience, or missed opportunity. Yet, it is through confronting these truths that growth occurs. The clarity gained from honest assessment allows you to refine strategies, enhance communication, and respond more effectively in the future. Awareness of emotional impact is crucial. Every interaction carries emotional weight for you and for those you engage. Reflecting on your own emotions during the day and observing how they influenced your words, tone, and body language provides insight into the subtle dynamics of persuasion. Consider how your calmness, enthusiasm, or tension shaped outcomes. Understanding emotional currents allows you to regulate them with greater precision, ensuring that your influence is compelling rather than coercive. Examine the responses of others. Reflection is incomplete without considering how your actions affected those around you. Identify moments where people were receptive, engaged, or resistant. Recognize the triggers for both cooperation and hesitation. This awareness helps you tailor future interactions to align with needs, expectations, and motivations, strengthening your ability to guide conversations, decisions, and relationships toward productive outcomes. Reflect on language and clarity. Words are the primary vehicle of persuasion, and their impact can be subtle or profound. Review the phrases, questions, and explanations you used during the day. Were your ideas communicated clearly? Did your words inspire confidence or create confusion? By analyzing language choices and their effects, you enhance the precision and power of your communication, ensuring that your message resonates with clarity and purpose. Consider alignment with principles. Effective persuasion is rooted in authenticity and integrity. Daily reflection offers the chance to evaluate whether your actions and messages were consistent with core values. Influence that departs from principles is temporary and fragile, whereas alignment with integrity builds enduring trust. Ask whether your persuasive efforts honored truth, fairness, and respect, and identify areas for correction or reinforcement. Analyze decision-making in interactions. Every day, opportunities arise to guide others, negotiate outcomes, and resolve conflicts. Reflect on the choices you made in these moments. Were they strategic, measured, and constructive? Did you prioritize mutual benefit and collaboration? By critically assessing decisions, you cultivate the foresight and judgment necessary for consistently persuasive engagement. Reflection strengthens adaptability. Persuasive power grows when you learn from patterns, successes, and missteps. Notice recurring challenges or moments where influence lagged. Determine whether alternative approaches could have produced better outcomes. Developing this analytical mindset allows you to adapt strategies fluidly, responding effectively to diverse personalities, contexts, and circumstances without losing composure or focus. Daily reflection encourages intentional improvement. Set specific goals for refining your persuasive skills based on insights gained. Perhaps you aim to ask more incisive questions, manage emotions with greater control, or enhance listening to uncover deeper motivations. By turning reflection into actionable steps, you transform awareness into growth, creating measurable progress over time. Observation of nonverbal dynamics is equally important. Reflect on body language, tone and pacing during interactions. Did your posture convey confidence? Did your gestures reinforce or undermine your message? Consider the subtle signals that shaped the reception of your communication. Mastery of these details amplifies influence because people respond not only to words, but to the overall presence and demeanor you project. Evaluate timing and patience. Persuasion is often as much about when you act as how you act. Reflect on moments where patience, pauses, or strategic timing enhanced outcomes, as well as times when rushing or pressing undermined effectiveness. Awareness of timing sharpens judgment, allowing you to exert influence with precision rather than force. Reflection promotes resilience. Not every attempt to persuade succeeds, and rejection or resistance is part of the journey. Analyze these instances to understand what factors contributed to the outcome and what can be improved. Viewing setbacks as learning opportunities rather than failures strengthens perseverance and refines approach, cultivating a mindset where influence grows steadily despite obstacles. Consider the ethical dimensions of influence. Reflect on whether your actions respected autonomy, encouraged genuine choice, and avoided manipulation. Persuasive power anchored in ethics is enduring and commands respect, whereas shortcuts or coercion erode credibility. Daily reflection ensures that your growth as a persuasive individual remains aligned with integrity and trustworthiness. Documenting insights enhances retention and application. Maintaining a journal or notes of reflections allows patterns to emerge over time, revealing trends in behavior, impact, and strategy. Reviewing these observations regularly deepens understanding, reinforces lessons, and enables incremental improvement that compounds into mastery. Celebrate small successes. Reflection is not solely about critique. It is also about recognizing progress, effort, and effective strategies. Acknowledging what worked reinforces confidence and encourages continued application. Balanced reflection, combining recognition with constructive analysis, cultivates motivation and self-assuredness in persuasive endeavors. Reflection also strengthens self-awareness. Recognizing personal triggers, biases, and habitual responses enables intentional management of behavior. People are influenced not only by what you say, but by how you respond under pressure, uncertainty, or opposition. Awareness of internal patterns allows you to maintain composure and guide interactions skillfully, enhancing credibility and impact. Consider the broader context of influence. Reflect on how daily interactions connect to long-term goals, relationships, and reputation. Persuasive power is cumulative. Every conversation contributes to perception, trust, and influence. Recognizing this continuity encourages consistent, deliberate action, ensuring that short-term efforts reinforce long-term effectiveness. Integration of lessons learned is critical. Daily reflection without application yields little improvement. Identify specific adjustments to implement the next day, whether it is a change in communication style, approach to listening, or method of engaging others. Intentional application of insights transforms reflection from passive observation into active skill development. Reflection cultivates humility. Recognizing that there is always room for growth keeps persuasion grounded in awareness rather than arrogance. Humility enhances relatability, fosters trust, and invites cooperation, all of which strengthen influence. Leaders who reflect understand that mastery is a continuous process, and each day presents new opportunities to refine approach. Ultimately, practicing daily reflection empowers mastery of persuasion by transforming experience into insight, insight into action, and action into consistent influence. Through honesty, empathy, analysis, and ethical consideration, Every interaction becomes an opportunity to learn, grow, and enhance effectiveness. Those who commit to this discipline develop not only skill but character, earning trust, respect, and the ability to guide others thoughtfully toward meaningful outcomes. By examining each day's interactions, evaluating responses, and integrating lessons learned, persuasive power becomes a deliberate and evolving skill rather than a series of chance successes. Reflection transforms awareness into strategic action, mistakes into insight, and effort into lasting influence. The practice of daily reflection ensures that each moment of engagement is purposeful, each conversation impactful, and each day a step toward mastery of influence that is ethical, compelling, and enduring.